The girl sees a tear dripping onto the floor in front of her, and when she comes to her senses, then she thinks what is happening and where she is. And also, why is she sitting on the floor holding onto someone's pants and asking a man she doesn't know for something? At this time, her interlocutor turns to the lady and tells her to let him go. But this is so annoying, and if the girl thinks that he will now change his attitude towards her, then she is greatly mistaken, because in his eyes, she has become even more disgusting. So let the lady stop, and the main character thinks what is going on. This guy scared her, and she already thought that the statue was talking, and it looked somehow unrealistic. Her interlocutor claims that he is repeating it for the last time, and if Lady Kana doesn't let him go, he will take away her hands, which shocks the girl. She immediately lets the guy go, after which he leaves. The main character thinks what he just said, and was that her name? The girl also doesn't understand why he said Kanai. The main character understands that this could lead to her going crazy. After all, she really did come back. Kana Addis comes from a family responsible for protecting the Western continent. The girl is the eldest daughter of the Duke of Addis and an illegitimate child. When people passed by her, they asked if this was the eldest daughter of the Addis family. Another of the aristocrats asked why she didn't just shave her head since she had black hair and eyes. Long ago, a misfortune happened on this land, and it appeared in the form of black fog. And in an instant, it swallowed up the southern continent. Because the lady's hair and eyes were as black as the fog, her very existence was considered a symbol of misfortune. Maybe that's why people in her memories look at her with disdain. Of course, the lady's family was no exception for her stepmother and sisters. The girl was a thorn in her side. Her first younger brother treated her cruelly, and two pretended to be polite, but treated her like a maid. And finally, only the father remained watching everything from the side. Day after day, the girl tried to survive, and endured cruel treatment. She listened to all the reproaches that wounded her no worse than a sharp knife. One day, when the lady was 14 years old, she woke up in an unfamiliar place. As it later turned out, she became a girl named Ju Hua. Without wanting it, and for reasons unknown to her, when the main character looked in the mirror, she screamed, "Who is it and what's wrong with her face?" After which she asked me not to say that she was stuck in the alchemy lab. And in the end, she went crazy. The girl had no other options in mind. After all, either she had gone crazy, or this was just a bad dream, and she had no other logical explanation. Soon the lady stopped trying to find an answer and simply accepted the situation. Even in this situation, which literally knocked her out of the board, time inexorably moved forward. Anyway, her soul had already connected with their body, Ju Hua, so nothing would change, no matter how much she denied it. Then she had only one option other than to plunge into eternal sleep. And to do this, she needed to find a way to survive in this business. And that's how the girl became Ju Hua. Now the main character understands that after this, she began to work hard. Well, everything turned out to be simpler than she thought at first, because the lady's body stored all the memories and acquired knowledge. Of course, there were times when she had panic attacks due to psychological trauma. But she could cope with this too because she was used to being patient. With this name, she began her new life and lived like this for 12 years. Without any rest at all, the lady first completed her final exams early, and then she entered the Korean Medical University and received a medical license. In recent years, the girl worked as a doctor to gain experience. Well, now she sighs heavily and thinks why she is there again. The main character realizes that every time she lay in bed, she looked at the ceiling, thinking about how well she worked and that everything would continue like this. Until then, it was like that life in Ju Hua's body was wonderful. Although it took time to adapt to her life, the girl was so happy because that life gave her so much. There she learned what it felt like to be hugged. Her mother assured her that she would support her in any endeavor. Her father and brother also took care of her, and the girl learned to show kindness. She was also the first to extend her hand and share love, and she experienced someone's warmth. Previously, the lady could not even dream of this, after which the main character gets up and runs to the mirror. She understands that this is how it was, but when she looks at her reflection, she realizes that it is sadly hanging black hair, and also the foggy eyes. The lady convinced herself she would never see that face again, and eventually, she was able to forget him. The last time she saw that face was when she was 14. The girl hasn't changed much, although she's noticeably matured. And here's her true face. Lady has truly returned to her real body and the real world. But she also remembers that man and realizes that at first she didn't recognize him, even though he looked familiar. If the lady remembers correctly who it is, then her affairs are bad, because he is like a time bomb. The main character sighs and realizes that she has no choice again, just like that day. But then she realizes that something has changed, because she is no longer the same Kana. Therefore, no matter how terrible the situation may seem, you first need to try to solve it, and she is not going to give up so easily. The protagonist reads a note that says, "Marriage came first, then love." The author writes that she already knows the chronology of events, so she can easily win Duke Sylvain. And what's wrong with a marriage of convenience? She just needs to get closer to him. At the same moment, the main character hits these notes and reads further that the girl keeps her notes in Korean, a language that no one in this world knows. Kana realizes that everything is as she thought. She and Juhua swapped bodies. While the girl was studying to open her own business, then Juhua. It seems she fell head over heels in love. And a little while ago, the girl told the Duke that she would become his wife. The man asked her what she was talking about, but the girl just suggested that he use her. Her interlocutor was interested in what she meant. The lady was offering to sign a contract. If he marries her, he will be able to free himself from the control of the imperial family. And he wants to marry the second princess. The main character screams that this girl is an idiot. She's just crazy, and the lady doesn't understand why it has to be Sylvian Valentino, because everyone knows how crazy he is. Kana wonders if it's all about looks or false politeness. But how could anyone even propose marriage to such a dangerous person? After reading the girl's diary, the main character realized that Juhua fell in love with Sylvain at first sight, and so she did everything to win his heart. But unfortunately, it was all in vain, and if she had been less persistent, the chance of success would have been greater. Sylvian rejected her, and even her naked appearance could not soften his gaze. The man claimed that if he had known that she was this type of woman, he would never have accepted her proposal. After this, the girl understood that she needed to remain strong, even if this attitude hurt her. Well, she has to get this man at any cost, so she can't give up. This is the last thing that Juhua wrote in his diary. And in the end, she begged him, while clinging to his pants. So now it is clear how she ended up in that situation when she returned. The girl understands that first, she needs to calm down and think everything through. She returned to her body, and her name is Kana. Since 12 years have passed, she's now 26, which means Juhua has returned to her body. At first, she clung to Sylvian with all her might, and then returned to life when it was time to go to work. And the only question is whether she can treat people. The main character is already sadly thinking about her career and license, but at the same moment, she insists that it no longer matters, since she still has the memories of the 12 years that Juhua lived in her body. This means she remembers everything she's learned. She also hopes she won't have any difficulties working as a doctor. However, the main character remembers something and screams about what will happen to her online store. While she was living in Juhua's case, the lady became very interested in studying botany, so she decided to try something. The lady began making handmade soap-scented candles and perfume. At first, it was just a hobby, but then she opened a small online store. And just recently, the number of orders began to grow. The main character screams in shock that Juhua should not dare to open her shop. The girl also says that if she returns, but at the same moment, she becomes a little sad. The lady recalls how she made her first candle and showed it to her relatives. However, now she understands that she needs to come to her senses, because memories won't change anything. Sylvian Valentino treated her like trash, and she thanks him for it because now the lady knows what needs to be done. The girl understands that it's time for them to get a divorce, and she will notify him about it tomorrow evening when he returns. The main character is sure that he will like this proposal, and the problem lies in it. Only in Duke Alexander Addis, the lady does not know whether her father will approve of her divorce. Women in this world have almost no rights, so the situation in Korea isn't even comparable. Despite her wishes, everything will depend on her father's response. But the girl thinks what kind of person he is, after which she remembers how the man spoke. That the lady is a disgrace to their family, and if she is going to plunge into eternal sleep, then let him do it as a member of Valentino's family. Kana understands that's how he'll most likely react to her wish. But Juhua's father would have been angered by such treatment of his daughter. At that moment, the lady lies down on the bed and realizes that she doesn't know. Therefore, it is better to rest for now and think about all this later. The main character closes her eyes and thinks that maybe this is all just a nightmare. At the same moment, the lady dreams of a girl asking her father what kind of person her mother was. Well, at that very moment, the main character sees her father's gaze and gets a little scared. After all, he looks at her menacingly and then gets up from his place. Kana immediately covers her head in fear, and the man turns to his daughter, and he tells her not to dare mention this woman in front of him. The main character understands that this explains everything, because her father hated not only her mother, but for this reason, everyone only cast contemptuous glances at her. A little while later, one of her brother's friends asked if this was really the girl, but she really did have hair the color of black fog. Someone else approached the guy and claimed that his sister was simply incredible. A little while later, the young man was already clenching his fist about to hit the lady, and the girl claimed that she was very sorry because she was wrong, and also asked him not to hit her. However, her interlocutor screamed at the lady to shut up because her place was among the trash. Now the main character opens her eyes. When the lady looks ahead, she sees a maid with a jug of water that she spilled on her own. The woman turns to the lady and asks why she is still sleeping. The main character understands that it was a dream, but the environment has not changed, which means this is Duke Valentino's bedroom. Kana wishes that all of this was just a bad dream. Well, at that very moment, the maid screams at the lady and asks if she really didn't hear her, since she told her to get up. The main character understands that if she were 14-year-old Kana Addis, she would not be able to do anything or would try to run away. Of course she's sorry, but now she's not that little girl anymore. After which the girl turns to the maid, and he asks her to tell him her name. The girl also recalls how the maid once beat her. The woman claimed that the lady had overslept again today, after which the girl apologized with a smile on her face. She also thanked the maid for waking her up. But now the main character only asks her to say her name, and the woman wonders if she is imagining things or if the atmosphere has changed somehow. Although she understands that this is still the same Kana Addis, the maid turns to the lady and asks if she's really all right in the head. Her name is Mary Goldian, and has she really forgotten? Let the girl get up. It's time to greet Madame, their main character. Remembers all this, and then replies that no. The maid asks what she is talking about, and the girl answers that she won't go anywhere because she doesn't care about all these greetings. The woman screams in shock at the lady asking what this means. The girl then asks who she is calling a lady. The main character also claims that she is the Duchess of Valentino, and also the owner of this mansion, so let her call her Madam from now on. Mary is shocked and wonders if the lady is really in her right mind, and if she really does look like an aristocrat. Then she decided to behave appropriately. But to the Duke, she was nothing more than trash anyway, and also a fake that even the family turned away from. So aren't people like that called trash, and who would even consider someone like her? The woman claims that the owner of this mansion is this Mrs. Josephine and hers too, after which there is silence between them. And a little while later, the main character extends her hand and tells the maid to give her a vase. When she hesitates a little, the main character snatches the vase. She also asks if there is any water left and then turns the vase over, pouring all the remaining water on the maid and saying how impudent she is. After which, the girl turns to the maid outside the door and tells her to bring her some rods. A little while later, this girl brings them, and the main character asks what Mary Goldian is worth. After all, she has to expose her shins. The woman is shocked and screams at the lady asking what she's doing. She also wonders if she hasn't mixed anything up, since she has been in this house longer than her. And moreover, she has gained the trust of Madame Josephine. The main character asks what's wrong with Togo, because she's just a servant and a crazy maid who poured water on her mistress. Kana claims that she has every right to be punished since she is the Duchess of Valentino, and with the power vested in her, she orders Mary to bare her shins. When the maid wants to say something else, the protagonist asserts that if she refuses, she will punish the other maids. And also the butler, who was unable to train the servants properly. After which, the girl says that she should choose whether she should punish Mary or the entire servant. The woman then lifts her dress and shakes all over. Kana understands that it seems she scared her a lot, and also thinks that the maid has already realized everything. But at that very moment, the lady remembers her mother's words about what if she decides to punish someone. Then, let him do it properly, after which the main character with all her might kicks the maid in the legs. The girl understands that after one blow, she is in shock, and after 2, she will feel pain. On the 3rd hit, she will start begging for forgiveness, and the woman immediately falls to the floor asking for forgiveness. Kana asks why she's apologizing, and her interlocutor replies that she dared to assume the guise of a water lady. The protagonist asks if that's all, and if she didn't just slap her in the face to wake her up. After which the woman apologizes to the lady, and the main character asks if she still calls her lady, and the maid at the same moment screams to the madame that, no, and this will not happen again. Kana claims that this is how it will be, because next time she will not forgive such impudence so easily. She also tells the maid to clean when she runs away. He just turns menacingly to Kana. The girl understands that one time won't change anything. The main character sighs and remembers Juhua. She understands that she made her life wonderful because she entered a prestigious university and became a doctor. After which the lady met the perfect guy. But Juhua turned her life into a living nightmare. The girl understood that everyone there despised her, even though she was an aristocrat. But no one takes her into account and insults her without hesitation, and even looks down on her. But then the lady saw one guy who did not look at her with disdain. At this time, someone opens the door to the main character's room and asks what she is doing. It turns out to be a countess named Josephine Elster. The woman wonders what kind of example the lady is setting, and the main character understands that she didn't show up without dust. This woman is her sister-in-law, and also the stepmother of Sylvain Valentino, and the real owner of this mansion. The woman turns to the lady and claims that Mary told her something strange. But did the girl really forget that she should greet her every morning? It's almost 1 o'clock, and she hasn't even shown up for lunch. The main character realizes she's talking about a lunchtime greeting. The girl is obliged to greet her 3 times a day, and these are at 7 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. This is a kind of hidden threat, so that the lady does not even think about going anywhere. Hua obediently did all this because she wanted to receive at least a little love. But still, she shouldn't have done it. She can't expect to be treated well if she's treated like an animal. Kana realizes that she has never lived a normal life, but now, the girl claims that she didn't forget because she just didn't want to do it. The main character understands that she will never again allow anyone to treat her like this. The main character remembers Countess Josephine Elster and realizes that she became Sylvain's stepmother when he lost his mother at the age of 10. Despite the previous duke's immersion in eternal sleep, she remained in the mansion and still considers herself the head of the family. And in order to ensure that she retained this position, she decided to subordinate Kana, even though she was her mother-in-law's. At this time, the woman asks what the girl just said, and the main character replies that she will not do this anymore. Josephine wonders what kind of look the lady has, because she thought that Mary was just exaggerating. But is this really the girl who was ready to eat from the floor just to be loved? And is she completely out of her mind? The woman turns to the lady and exclaims that these are their family traditions. Since she married her precious son, let him deign to observe them. But the main character pushes the woman's fan aside and becomes interested. Is she really talking about the traditions that she herself came up with, and that in her opinion are nothing more than her whims? Kana also wonders if she is ashamed to disgrace the long history of the Valentino family. The woman becomes enraged by this, and then screams for this girl to be grabbed. She also claims to teach her manners, and tells them to bring her a rod. Mary promptly brings it, after which the woman screams for the maid to bare her legs, and she obeys. After which she approaches the lady and understands that now she will know not to raise her hand against Madame's valuable servant. But the main character at that very moment tells her to take her hands off, after which the girl lifts her dress and asks her mother to punish her. The woman is shocked, wondering if she is really smiling, and wondering if she really thought this was all a joke. But she will punish her until the girl realizes her mistake. The main character wonders if this is true, after which she asks if she is really going to beat her daughter-in-law with rods. And if so, then she thinks that such a method of education is worthy of a respected ducal family. Duke Valentino must be very proud of her. Well, at that very moment, the woman screams at the girl to shut her mouth and asks how she dares to interrupt her elders. After which she starts beating Kana and shouts how impudent she is. And doesn't the Addis family teach etiquette? She was not taught any manners and was brought into her house as a daughter-in-law. A little while later, the servants watch the lady and the maid only smiles. The girl understands that she no longer cares about these stares, and she will not scream and will never again do what she wants. A little while later, the maid realizes that the girl has definitely gone crazy, and how can she change so much overnight? The main character realizes that there is no living place left on her calves, and earlier, she would have already fallen to her knees begging for forgiveness. But now, she will definitely be able to endure it, and Josephine wonders if the girl still hasn't realized her mistake. The main character turns to her and replies that, yes, it is her fault. Her interlocutor, with a smile on her face, understands that the girl has finally admitted it. But Kana only claims that she shouldn't have done something against her will, and that's where her mistake lies. The main character also asks why she should waste her time on her mother at all. After all, she is just a guest in her house, so why should she be pleased? The woman in shock asks what the girl is talking about now, and whether this is really her house, and she is just a guest. Kana replies that everything is correct, because she is the wife of Duke Valentino, and the mansion belongs to the Duke and Duchess. To be honest, Mother should have left this place a long time ago. The woman at this time remembers how everyone admired her all the time, and addressed her as a duchess. They presented her with luxurious gifts, and everyone respected the woman. That's why now she's wondering how the girl even dared to do this. Consider her a guest in your own home. But at the same moment, the main character falls to the floor, because she can no longer stand. She looks at Josephine breathing heavily and turns red, ordering the servants not to invite doctors, and do not give the girl any medications until she realizes her mistake. And also do not let anyone in there. A little while later, the woman sits down on the sofa and screams, "What kind of impudence is this? And who is this ugly woman with black hair?" It was impossible to accept her as his daughter-in-law, and if only Sylvain had married the second princess, then she would live comfortably in high society. Although if she had power, she would not have to rely on Sylvain and worry about it. The woman also wonders why he left her only the title of countess, and why it does not give her the same privileges that she had before. But he didn't want it anymore, and only kept repeating that they weren't blood relatives. The woman also wonders if she has really lost her power and become a fading flower of high society, so that some Kana would consider her just a guest in this house. The countess immediately realizes she will surely send this girl into eternal sleep if the wounds become inflamed and the fever worsens. Then she will definitely fall into eternal sleep, and the woman will simply pretend that she knew nothing about it. The countess lies down on the sofa and realizes that no one cares about this girl anyway, and even her family and husband should therefore take up the idea of engaging with the princess again. But at that very moment, someone turns to Madame and claims that Duke Valentino is there. When the woman turns around, she asks what brought Sylvain here at this hour. The countess wonders why he suddenly came to her, and whether the reason is this girl. The woman also claims that she doesn't know what happened, but the guy just walks past her, after which the countess tells him to sit down, and wonders if he really came because of that girl. The woman also asks if he wants something to drink, because she will order the servants to serve tea. Well, her interlocutor only claims that he heard strange rumors. Josephine is shocked and wonders if he really came because of Kana, and why he showed up so late. The woman also wonders if this girl is really that important to him, and what she has already managed to tell him. But her interlocutor only claims that he heard what the countess said, that he will be present at the banquet in honor of the second princess's birthday. The woman replies that everything is correct, and wonders why she started to worry, because of course, Sylvain would not ask her about this girl. The countess adds that Princess Lillian was simply so worried about this that she could not help but promise her that the guy will keep her company. The woman also thinks how fortunate everything is, as such frequent meetings will definitely help her arrange a marriage with the princess. But Sylvain wonders if she really promised, and the woman is a little surprised. After which, her interlocutor asks the countess who gave her the right to interfere in his affairs. The woman is a little nervous about this, and claims that Her Highness the second princess said that she has not seen him for a long time. Well, in that case, the man says that Countess Elister herself, and she no longer has the right to accompany hers. After which the guy says that he will go and leaves the room. At this time, the main character is lying on the floor, after which the girl opens her eyes. Kana says that she needs water, after which he keeps wondering how long she was unconscious, because her whole body is burning. However, when the girl tries to get up, she feels terrible pain in her legs, and when she turns around, she says how awful it is. After all, there is not a single living place left on her, and the lady doesn't even know what to do. The wound cannot be left in this state, and needs to be disinfected before it becomes infected. In the worst case, she could suffer nerve damage or fall into an eternal sleep. The girl also wonders if this was the Countess's plan, and she will not give her any medicine or a doctor. People are such fragile creatures, but there is nothing surprising about it, because everyone there initially disregarded human lives. Kana claims that she is able to heal herself. A little while later, the lady takes the wine and says that she hopes it will be enough to disinfect the wound. The girl understands that she needs to start, and it will be terribly painful, but she will endure it. Well, when the main character looks out the window, who thinks what it is? When the lady opens the door to the street, she smells the aroma of the tree, and looking at it, understands that she was right, because it is a camphor tree. It is used in medicine in Korea, and every part of this tree is rich in healing properties. It helps to reduce pain and relieve inflammation. This tree grows only in the eastern continent, so it's a little strange that it's standing next to her room. But at that very moment, the main character realizes that there was something like that in Jiha's memories. There, the Countess asked if they had planted this tree as she had ordered, to which her interlocutor replied that yes, and although these trees only grow in the east, now they are in her garden too, and therefore many people will envy this. The woman also told them not to forget to put the magic stones, because without them, the trees would not survive in the local climate. Kana realizes that she has heard about them before, and that the magic stones prolong the life of plants, which is why it is so strange. However, in any case, she was very lucky, and a little while later, the lady was already folding several leaves and realized that everything was ready. The main character thinks she can do it, and then pours wine on her foot. At that moment, the girl feels terrible pain, but she understands that she must endure it because she cannot faint now. A little while later, she finishes treating the wounds and realizes that she did everything in her power. However, she was incredibly lucky, even though there were no painkillers or antibiotics there. The girl understands that in Korea, she would not have to suffer so much. If she had been there, she would have reported everything that was happening to the police at that very moment. They would have called an ambulance and taken her straight to the hospital, given first aid, and bandaged her. Her family would have stayed with her, worried about her health. The girl also recalls how the woman turned to her daughter and claimed that tears would not help her grief, as they would only make her weaker. That's why now the main character understands that she shouldn't cry, but she really wants to return to her family. The lady also says that we will have to get used to life here. A little while later, the butler informs the master of what happened during the day. He also claims that the Duchess's wounds are quite serious, and it is dangerous to leave things as they are. But his interlocutor replies that Countess Ellister decides such matters, and the butler says that he understands. Josephine Ellister's guess turned out to be correct, because it was Sylvain Valentino. He didn't care at all about his wife's condition, even if she had fallen into eternal sleep. A little while later, the maid asks if this is for Lady Kana, to which her interlocutor replies that yes. Mary wonders if she has already eaten everything, and when the other maid replies that yes, then yes, she says that it is good, and that she should go. The woman understands that for the past 10 days, only empty plates have been taken out of Kana's room, and that she would sooner or later plunge into eternal sleep. A little while ago, the Countess turned to her maid and asked what was happening to Kana. Mary replied that she was still alive, but with her wounds, it was only a matter of time. Josephine replied that this was given and asked if the maid was sure that the maids had not brought her anything, and she replied that she had told them not to pay attention to hers. The woman replies that it is clear and that Mary should inform her as soon as there is good news, to which she agrees. Now, Mary is thinking what an empty-headed girl Kana is. Why did she even touch her? And the girl only added problems to herself, so I shouldn't have gotten involved with her. The woman also thinks that she wants to see her lifeless body as soon as possible. But at that very moment, someone runs up to the headmaid and screams at her. The woman asks why such a rush, and did she really see a ghost? But what if Madame notices her? But the girl replies that it is about Lady Kana, after which the maid asks if she has finally fallen into eternal sleep. But at that very moment, her interlocutor is shocked when Mary suggests that she speak. Then someone behind her claims that they wouldn't want to disappoint her, but she's still alive. It turns out that this is the main character, and the maid wonders if she is really seeing things. But this lady was beaten so much that she shouldn't have been able to walk, so how is this possible? Kana asks if Mary really wanted her to fall into eternal sleep so much, The girl also claims that as the owner of this mansion, she cannot forgive such insolence, after which she offers to bring her a rod. A little while later, someone throws a basket and screams how this is possible, and who brought Kana the medicine. One of the servants replies that no one did this, because he specifically checked the supplies, but everything was in place. The countess screamed that there were no medicines and no help, so why did she look as if nothing had happened, and even dared to do such a thing to Mary? A little while later, the woman saw the maid lying on the floor, and then asked why her legs were covered in red liquid. She asked what happened, and who dared to do this to her. One of the maids then approached Madame, and claimed that it was actually Lady Kana who had punished her. Now the woman screams that it's wonderful, and then she will personally check it. A little while later, she goes out onto the balcony, and the main character says that the Countess hasn't visited her for a long time. The woman thinks that this girl looks much better than she thought, and wonders if she stole the medicine from the pharmacist. Kana asks how she could have taken them if she had never been there, and the lady herself knows what state she was in recently, although the girl also understands that she still had to borrow a couple of plants from the garden. Kana also wonders if the Countess is not happy about her recovery. The woman asks what she's saying, and the girl asks if she's wrong, since she thought it angered the Countess. Josephine replies that it's not that simple, and the lady should have told her immediately, but she also claims that she came there for another reason, or rather, because of the headmaid. How dared the girl punish her without permission? Kana replies that it is because Mary wanted her to quickly plunge into eternal sleep. She happily asked if Kana had fallen into eternal sleep, and she was very pleased with this possible development of events. The woman thinks what an idiot the girl is, and why did she have to talk about it for everyone to hear? No one ever cared about Kana, so putting her into eternal sleep would only make things easier, but her title shouldn't be forgotten. The woman understands that if Mary intended to plunge her into eternal sleep, then this is a rather viscous reason. And the main character claims that since they have cleared everything up, she thinks that now her punishment should not cause any problems. Her interlocutor asks how she can say such a thing considering Mary has been loyally serving in this mansion for many years. The girl replies that she can't be near someone who wished such a thing on her, and if the Countess does not agree to throw out the maid, then she will leave herself, and the woman wonders why the girl is talking about this so confidently. And does she really have anywhere to go? And who would even want to take her in? The woman tells the girl to do whatever she wants, and if she really wants to leave, then they are welcome. After which the main character replies that tomorrow morning she will leave this place. The girl also wonders if it is hard when she is kicked out of her family, but in any case, now she has achieved what she wanted. Although the very fact of expulsion in this situation is rather unfair, now she needs to talk to Sylvain. But the girl is sure that he will gladly accept her offer given Juhua's antics. Kana claims that she simply must take this opportunity to end everything. A little while later, the girl knocks on his lordship's door and asks if she can come in. At that moment, the man tells Lady Kana to come in, and the main character gets a little angry and realizes that she certainly assumed that the attitude towards her was worse than ever. Well, what kind of address is this? He doesn't even consider her a duchess. Although the lady understands that it does not matter, after which she opens the door and turns to his lordship. However, at that very moment, she sees what state he is in and is a little surprised. The guy is already asking what Lady Kana wanted to tell him. Kana understands that he scared her a little, and it seems like this is not the first time she has seen his face, but she still can't get used to it. But the girl thinks that no matter how good he looks behind this mask, there is a cold-blooded man. He may have an unusual appearance, but even if something happens to his wife, he won't even bat an eyelid. Kana wonders if someone like him shouldn't want her to fall into eternal sleep, after which the girl claims that she doesn't know if he heard, although she is sure that he did. After all, Countess Elister was going to put her into eternal sleep. The man then replies that he doesn't have the strength to put someone into eternal sleep with rods, and the main character realizes he already knows what happened, but doesn't he really care? Kana claims he knew she was seriously injured, but did nothing. Her interlocutor asks why he should worry about this at all, to which the girl replies that it is because she is his wife, and her own mother-in-law almost put her into eternal sleep. But is he really going to continue pretending that he doesn't know anything? The guy asks what's so special about it, and the lady realizes that this face has appeared countless times in Juhua's memories. Beautiful eye shape, raised corners of the lips, and a pleasant voice. and also a look full of disgust, after which the guy claims that the lady is still alive. That's why he's interested in what the problem is, and the main character understands that this is the kind of person he is. Even if she were to lose consciousness or start bleeding red liquid, he wouldn't even look in her direction. The main character understands that this girl had so many loving people, so why did she just suffer all these 7 years? If Mom found out, she would be very upset, after which the main character wonders why the Duke married her. Even though their marriage was one of convenience, it doesn't change the essence, because he agreed to take her as his wife. So why does he not respect her at all? And the girl thinks what an idiot he is. A little while later, one of the guards claims that this is an order from the Duke of Addis, and he said not to let Duchess Valentino in if she comes. Therefore, he asks her to return to Duke Valentino's estate. The main character realizes that she knew it, and everything turned out worse than she thought. Her father was afraid that his daughter might return, and she of course guessed that she would not be welcome. Well, it looks like the Duke has decided to give her up forever. The girl realizes that now she knows why Juhua never saw him. The main character also thinks that now it doesn't matter, and she hasn't considered him her father for a long time, but she needs to meet him in order to get a divorce. Kana, looking at her hair, realizes that she wonders if anything would change if she had hair of a different color. Black is a symbol of misfortune and disaster, and to understand why everyone thinks so, we need to go back to the distant past. Long ago, the southern continent was called the continent of magic. People took a peaceful and happy life for granted. But one day, a black fog appeared out of nowhere, and whatever it touched immediately plunged into eternal sleep. Then the world was consumed by fear and horror, and in an instant, everything turned black. People had to leave their homeland in order to survive, and so they settled on the western continent. This became the so-called beginning of modern civilization, which lasted for about 1,000 years. While the western continent was not completely safe, because although in smaller quantities, there was also black fog there. Then he gave birth to inexplicable things, mysterious clots objects, and also monsters. Although they were not originally in this world, these predators could not be controlled. As soon as a person touched the black fog, he immediately contracted an infection and lost his mind. So people turned into monsters and they lived by devouring other people. The main character realizes that their eyes and hair turned black, like the fog itself. So it is natural that a person with this color will become a monster in the future, although this is the most common hair color in Korea. Therefore, wherever the girl went or whoever she met, they always looked at her with disgust. And who would even listen to such a man? Last night the girl insisted that she should marry him, but she never expected such treatment, and that was normal then, but not now. The lady insisted that even if it was a marriage of convenience, she couldn't live like that anymore. And she didn't know if he'd heard, but the countess had kicked her out. The guy asks what happened to Togo, after which the lady replies that she will leave this place and return to her parents' house. Her interlocutor asks if she is really saying that she will leave this place, the place where he lives, after which the guy sighs and replies that she can do as she wants. Kana claimed that she intended to file for divorce as soon as she received her father's permission. Her interlocutor replied that he was looking forward to it. Now the girl kicks the stone and understands that it seems this idiot did not believe her, and he also thinks that she is trying to attract his attention in this way. Although given recent events, he definitely didn't believe her, but let the guy just wait a little longer, and they will definitely get divorced. But first, the lady understands that she must get inside, but she just doesn't understand how. The girl also thinks that maybe she should try to climb over the fence and grab the Duke, and beg him But at that very moment, she notices a carriage approaching the estate. The coachman cries out that the young master has returned, so let them open the gate immediately. The main character wonders if he really said young master, after which the second son of the Addis family gets out of the carriage. The main character, looking at the transport, wonders if there is really a young lady inside. The girl also does not understand why she hides her face, but at the same moment, her brother says, "What an unexpected meeting this is." He also wonders what brought Duchess Valentino to their house. A little while ago, the guy was heading in a carriage and sighing heavily. He also said that Lucy should have a good rest today, and he would look for another doctor. But when the girl didn't respond, her brother turned to her again. The little girl insisted that the doctor had said no one could help her, after which the guys heard her start to cry. Lucy Addis is the youngest daughter of the Addis family, and also a 7-year-old girl suffering from a terrible disease. Nobody understood what was happening to her, so they preferred to just avoid her. The doctors merely shook their heads. One of them apologized, but insisted that medicine there was pointless and that he could suggest visiting the temple. The guy thought what kind of nonsense this was, and they would leave this advice for the last resort, but he also didn't know who else to turn to. Now the young man understands that he already has a lot to do, and now she decided to come. He also says that if the girl has no urgent business with him, then let her return to Valentino's estate because they are in a hurry. Well, at that very moment, the lady who was getting out of the carriage suddenly stumbles and almost falls. Her cape rises up a little, after which the girl pulls it back up, and the main character realizes what it is. At that moment, the red-haired guy grabs Kana by the neck and says, if she values her life, then she shouldn't dare tell anyone about it. At this time, the main character is only interested in how the treatment is progressing, and also what the doctor says and how long has she been in this condition, and whether they started treatment on time, to which the guy only asks what she is talking about. The girl at this time asks if she can help with something and claims that she will help with Lucy's treatment if they allow her to stay there for a while. After this, the guy screams out how she is going to do what even the best doctors on the continent could not do. And what does she even know? Is this all a joke for her? The main character then turns to Cullen Addis and suggests that he calm down first. She also wonders if he doesn't want to cure his sister, but she said she could help, so she asks him one last time what he wants. At this point, the guy realizes it doesn't look like the lady is trying to deceive him, and maybe she really does know how to heal Lucy. If there's even a small chance she'll get better, it's worth a try. After that, he tells her to fly and follow him. A little while later, the main character walks down the corridor, but asks where everyone is, because it's just so quiet there. Her interlocutor replies that they are now at a banquet in the imperial palace, and the girl says that it is clear, after which she tells him to ask to bring acupuncture needles. The guy asks what it is, and the girl replies that they look like regular needles. The main character also understands that without them, she will not be able to help her. It is very important that they are of the right size and diameter. After which, the girl also tells him to convey that these needles must be made from the highest quality mana stone. At this time, Cullen is thinking about how this will help his sister, and it seems he was too hasty with this decision, because the girl looks shabby and does not inspire confidence. But then the lady's brother says, okay, it's better than going to the temple. The temple is the domain of a divine spirit who protects the Western continent from evil with the help of the powers of the World Tree. A place beyond the Empire's reach, it is sacred and extremely dangerous. No one has the right to enter or leave it at will. There are also no rules of etiquette there, and everything that happens is devoid of common sense, so he does not want to send Lucy there. After this, Cullen thinks that although this does not inspire much confidence, it is definitely better than the temple. The guy also wonders if the lady at least radiated medicine, but she asks if he knows that she was interested in alchemy. During her studies, she discovered that she had a close connection to medicine, and she learned the mechanics of healing, the boy claims. This is the first time he's heard that alchemy is closely connected to medicine. The main character replies that there's a connection between them, at least with what she's been studying. The girl also understands that this is a convincing lie. She also claims that she first needs to assess the girl's condition. Cullen, watching his sister, realizes that although he doesn't believe a single word she says, however, the lady has a straight posture and confident speech, and she also acts without hesitation and is no longer the same as before. Perhaps she's become a completely different person over the past 7 years. A short time later, the protagonist approaches Lucy and greets her. The girl also tells the baby not to be afraid because she won't hurt her and asks if she can get out from under the blanket. Kana also tells her not to worry because she knows about the baby's illness, and if she is prescribed the right treatment and medications, then everything will be fine. But the girl replies with a shaking voice that the doctor said that nothing can be done. And the main character replies that she has already met people with this disease many times, but she healed them so she can help her too. The baby then takes off the blanket, and Cullen realizes that people have always been horrified by her face, so he can't even imagine how hard it was for Lucy in those moments. He also thinks that if only the girl would try to say something about it, then he would definitely. Well, at that very moment, the main character says that it's great, after which she asks if she can now close and open her eyes. When the baby does this, the girl replies that this is wonderful, and now let her help only with her right eye and then only with her left. Kana also asks if she can't close her left eye, and Callan wonders if his sister wasn't surprised at all, and he didn't expect such a calm reaction from her, as if it weren't such a terrible disease. Meanwhile, the girl asks Cullen if Lucy gets sick often. Her interlocutor notes that he would not have said so, and she has never been seriously ill. The main character asks if she had a fever or cough before these symptoms appeared, to which the man replies that on that day, she fell from a boat into a pond and then caught a cold, but she quickly recovered and was never sick again. Kana replies that she doesn't think so, after which she asks Lucy if she has had any pain or noise in her ears since that incident. Cullen claims that Lucy didn't say anything like that, but at that very moment, the main character stops him and claims that she did not ask Cullen this. The guy is a little surprised and understands that if even he doesn't know about this, then the girl certainly wouldn't be able to hide anything from him. Well, at that very moment, the little girl replies that yes, she had such symptoms all this time. Kana insists that everything is as she expected. A short time later, the girl is already heading to another room. Cullen closes the door, and the girl adds that, fortunately, curing the baby will not be difficult if she has everything she needs. But first, she needs to find that book. At this time, the guy is wondering how the lady found out about the pain in her ears, because he didn't think that Lucy could hide something from him. Cullen also wonders if it was because she didn't believe his words, but the girl replies that it wasn't only because of that, and she just thought that she wasn't telling him everything. Her interlocutor asks why, but the girl just looks at him coldly. The main character also remembers how the guy claimed that his sister was too much trouble and that she should bring him the book he dropped in the gardens. Let the ladies move, she's no use at all. The young man also turned to his sister and told her not to dare talk to him anymore because she was disgusting. Kana claims that she doesn't even know, but if she were in this girl's place, she would have done the same. The guy is shocked by this, and the main character claims that he said that they had seen many doctors, but she never spoke about her pain, and she thinks that the girl was afraid of the reaction of others. Cullen claims that this simply cannot be, because he is making every effort to make Lucy feel comfortable in the mansion. The main character understands that, of course, for someone who has not known this horror since early childhood, he will never understand their feelings, no matter how hard he tries. Kana asks if he understands that other people live in this house, and that the girl is an ordinary daughter of a maid who was born right after her wedding. It doesn't matter what he thinks about her, but not everyone there thinks the same way. Mother, sister, and brother, didn't he think that they might have a different opinion? When the guy is silent, the main character understands that it seems he has nothing to answer her, but she still wonders why he became like this. But she would never have thought that he would care so much about his stepsister, because with her, everything was different. When the girl coughed, she only heard someone speaking to her with displeasure. The guy claimed that since she was sick, she should have stayed in her room. After all, no one wants to see a sick person wandering around the mansion, so let her not catch his eye. The lady wonders if he has always treated her like trash, and now he has decided to play the caring brother. Although thanks to him, I have a place to stay. He is still the same idiot. Hey! The girl tells him to open the library because she needs to find something there. When the main character looks at the papers, she remembers that Lucy had a fever and a cough, and now she also has an earache. These are typical signs of a viral infection, which is the cause of facial paralysis. The main problem is with medicinal herbs, because she doesn't know where to get them. Fortunately, the plants there are the same as in Korea, and they are ideal for Eastern medicine. The girl understands that Lucy is very lucky that the disease did not affect the brain, because in that case she would not have coped without instruments and would have had to analyze the red liquid. The lady also notices a look of distrust on herself and understands that it seems that her brother will find it difficult to accept her help. At this time, the guy is wondering if the lady really thinks that medical books from the East will help in any way. The Eastern continent was accidentally discovered by one navigator less than 10 years ago. There's very little information about it, and only records of herbal use exist. For example, it's known that tea made from the roots of peonies growing there helps with anemia. The main character understands that although the West knows practically nothing about the East, people began adding herbs to tea only because they succumbed to fashion. But if the proportions are wrong, many of them have no effect, so no one knew that they could be used in medicine. More precisely, they simply did not have anyone who understood Eastern medicine. Kana claims that this book will be useful to her, so he should not worry and follow her instructions. The guy then reads the list of ingredients that the lady wrote, and she asks if it will be difficult to get them to, which the guy replies that no, and there shouldn't be any problems. But he also understands that he has never heard of such herbs before, and of course he does not trust her, but it seems that she knows what she is doing. And she guessed about Lucy's symptoms that even he didn't know. The main character tells him to let her know when everything is ready, but now she has to go to her lab, and she wonders if she is still there. To which the guy replies that yes, and the girl asks if they didn't even try to change her. Her interlocutor claims that no, because her father locked it so that no one could enter. He also hands the keys to the lady when the main character enters this room. He is a little surprised and realizes that nothing has changed there since the day Ju Hua went there before the wedding, and it is as if time has simply stopped. The girl thought that the Duke would get rid of her immediately, but still does not understand why she remained untouched. After all, it was as if he wanted to preserve the memories of the owner of this room, so she could return there at any moment. Well, then the main character realizes that this can't be true, and most likely this is some kind of mistake, because why would the Duke remember her? And he hates her with all his heart. Even a dog would faint upon hearing this, so it would be better for it to go check out the underground laboratory. When the girl goes downstairs, she wonders if nothing has changed there either. The only thing that makes her happy after her return is the opportunity to practice alchemy again. The girl realizes that she smells the familiar scent of dusty books and understands that mana stones are an important ingredient in alchemy. She is so sorry that they did not exist in Korea. And when the lady takes out one of the books, she wonders how her family lived there. After all, they were the only ones with her throughout her childhood in that huge mansion. The lady puts one of the books to her forehead and says that they haven't seen each other for a long time. But at that very moment, the girl hears someone running there, after which she opens the door. The lady realizes that this familiar feeling struck her like lightning because neither Cullen nor the servants burst into the room. And the real monster and the guy at this time turned to trash, after which he wonders if she really came back. A little while ago, someone approached young Mr. Orsini. The guy claimed he was bored at the banquet because the repertoire hadn't changed in several years. He also asked if Cullen was home, since he hadn't seen him. After which, the butler claimed that, in fact, the Duchess of Valentino had arrived at the estate. The guy is surprised after this and asks what he is talking about, and also asked if Kana Valentino is really there. But the butler replied that yes, and he heard that the girl had come to help Lady Lucy, and now Mr. Cullen had gone to get everything necessary for treatment. At that very moment, the young man turned over one of the screens and asked what kind of nonsense this was and what kind of treatment this was, for which his brother allowed this trash to enter their house. Now the guy approaches the lady and says that her hair is still the same disgusting black color. Kana realizes that this is a familiar nickname and insult, and she remembers very well what will follow these words. Since this guy also lives here, it would be logical that they would cross paths sooner or later, but she didn't expect it to happen so soon. The lady's feet seemed to be rooted to the ground, and her fingertips were trembling. The girl also remembers how when she was little, a boy asked her why she didn't just fall into eternal sleep, because it would be a wonderful gift for them. But let her not even think about walking with her head held high, and let her just try to look into his eyes, because he will immediately plunge her into eternal sleep. Kana understands that she really likes this, because it's all so exciting. The main character puts the book on the table and turns to Orsini. The girl claims that she is glad that they met, and her feelings are sincere. Kana claims that she really missed him a lot. The lady understands that he doesn't know what promise and oath she made to herself, but she said that if she met him again, she would definitely make him suffer and make sure that he got what he deserved. At the same moment, the young man pushes the lady's hand away and wonders if she fell down the stairs at Valentino's estate and went crazy. The guy also asks if since her father forbade her to come there, she decided to pretend to be a doctor, and also has this scum forgotten its place, because if so, then it's time to remind her once again. Then the guy grabs the girl by the hand and claims that she is trash. The main character simply smiles in response. Meanwhile, the young man reminisces about his childhood. When he was walking through the garden, he saw a lady with a book under a tree. But now the main character says that he is too close, after which she suggests that he move away. The young man immediately moves away and thinks whether the girl has always been like this. But this is impossible. Kana says how much time has passed and asks if he missed her. After this, the young man screams out how this is even possible and suggests that she stop talking nonsense and also get out of this house because the smell of garbage makes him sick. Kana asks if Callan said she would stay there for a while to help Lucy. Her interlocutor wonders if she has really gone crazy and is not afraid at all. But he needs to pull himself together because he came there to throw her out of there, but now he doesn't understand why he continues to listen to all this nonsense. At that very moment, the guy says no way and screams that she herself will want to leave there. But at that very moment, the girl pours some liquid on him, and the guy asks what it is. The girl replies that this is a way to teach her bad brother a lesson. However, when the guy asks what this nonsense is, he feels the liquid begin to hiss, after which he actually feels pain and unbuttons his shirt, crying out that his skin feels like it's on fire. At that very moment, the young man sees the wound. Kana asks if it hurts, but she created this potion as a child, and it burns through flesh without causing bleeding. This is a special remedy, and the pain will not go away until he uses the neutralizer, and a scar will remain. If he apologizes right now, she will give him a neutralizer, and he doesn't want to spend his whole life with this pain. After which, the lady asks what he will do, and the guy screams that this idiot is crazy. At this time, in the banquet hall of the imperial palace, someone addresses the duke, and he claims that he received an urgent letter from the estate. The man then takes the letter in his hands and reads that Kana has returned. A little while later, Orsini is lying on the floor, and Cullen is wondering what happened there. The main character replies that the guy tried to attack her, so she had to use force, and her interlocutor asks if this really should have happened, to which the girl replies that yes, because she used her potion. It and the neutralizer for it were created by her at the age of 14, and she would have given him this neutralizer after an apology, but the guy preferred to remain silent. Cullen is a little silent in response to this, but the girl says that this is not the issue now, after which she asks if Cullen has prepared the materials, to which the guys answer that yes, they will be delivered around midnight. Kana replies that this is excellent, and let her know when they arrive, to which he agrees. And he claims that he will later order the servants to carry Orsini away from there, to which the girl agrees. A little while later, the guy walks down the corridor and wonders if the lady really created him at 14 years old. Orsini is one of the best swordsmen in the Empire who can even split a stone if he wants to. But even he lost consciousness from a potion made by a 14-year-old girl. It's just incredible, and if she had such talent, why did she endure it all this time? Although she's no longer that little girl, and her expression has become more confident. So the guy wonders if this means she's ready to fight for her honor. A little while later, someone says that here are the needles that the lady asked for. The main character looks at them and realizes that this is an excellent piece of work. Acupuncture needles help to disperse the thick red fluid in the body. They are made from highly local healing magic stones, so the girl understands that this is excellent. There are herbs too, so there is only one thing left. The main character hands Cullen a paper and tells him to put his seal on it. Her interlocutor asks if this is really a contract, and the lady doesn't trust him so much that she replies that she just wants to be sure. Her interlocutor claims that he doesn't even know how to react to this, but when he puts the seal, he asserts that the lady must cure Lucy at any cost. The main character replies that it's natural, and then suggests starting the treatment. The girl also tells the baby to tie her hair back so the back of her head is visible and then lie on her stomach, after which the main character says that Lucy is doing well and claims that she is starting, so let the girl relax. However, when Cullen sees the whole picture, he screams for the girl to stop. He also wonders what she is doing and whether she has gone crazy. The guy also adds that she is really going to pierce the girl's delicate skin with this needle, and the little girl asks if there is really a needle there. Kana wonders how he could stop her, but her interlocutor screams out what kind of treatment this is. The main character asks him if she should stop, and if he is sure that he wants her to stop. Her interlocutor replies that he simply has never seen such treatment before, to which the girl replies that she learned this method while studying alchemy, and he believed in her and entrusted her with the treatment. Since he doesn't trust her so much, the lady suggests ending it there and letting him choose, because the more he hesitates, the less chance of success. The guy understands that the lady is called the shame of the Addis family, even with the title of Duchess, She has no power in high society, and hasn't Kana always been like this? Or maybe he just didn't know her, because the lady is truly confident in her abilities. But the young man wonders who even treats with needles. It's absurd. However, the confidence with which she speaks the toast gives him hope. After which, the guy lets go of her hand and claims that he trusts the lady so she can continue. Kana replies that this is wonderful, but tells him not to interfere anymore. The main character thinks how this guy irritates her, but now the little girl is afraid. In this state, it will be more difficult to endure the process, and then the main character turns to Lucy, and she also says that she will get better soon, so let the little one believe her and ask if she can do it. The little girl is wondering if she will definitely be able to recover, but no one has ever told her this. That's why she is so happy and has hopes for the lady. The main character thinks how cute she is and how quickly she catches on, after which the girl says that it's wonderful, and let her lie down on her stomach and also expose the back of her head. A little while later, the girl claims that she feels much better. Cullen claims that her lip muscles seem to have relaxed more, and is this treatment really that effective? Kana claims that she did say so, and she asks if he trusts her now. The ladies understand that, frankly, she didn't expect such a quick effect, and after all, healing is much easier with magic stones. Kana claims that the treatment will take a few more days. The baby needs to take the medicine from the package every day. Cullen says he understands, and then the girl says that the treatment is over for today, so she is going to sleep. The guy then turns to his sister, and when the lady turns around, she asks what is going on. But her interlocutor is silent for a while, after which he replies that it's nothing, and that she should rest. As the main character walks down the corridor, she realizes that it is obvious that Cullen has a lot of questions for her. But it can be understood, because she is no longer the same Kana that she was 7 years ago. Although she does not care about this, just like the Addis family and the rest of this world. She may have wanted to be a member of this family as a child, but now she doesn't need it. When the main character goes to her room, she realizes that it has become much cleaner, and the light has been turned on. Kana understands that these people will never stop hating her, and she has no desire to even try to get along with them. The girl also thinks that she needs to change her clothes, but then she closes her eyes and doesn't even notice how she falls asleep. A little while later, someone shouts at the girl to get up right now and asks if she can hear. The main character asks how many more times they will wake her up like this and realizes that nothing changes. Kana's stepmother and the mistress of the Addis family screams out what the girl did to Orsini. She also wonders how she even had the courage. The main character understands that Chloe Addis still cares about her son. Kana wonders if Destiny really wants to talk and why hit her right away. The woman wonders what she is allowing herself to do, but at the same moment someone says that it is enough. It turns out to be Cullen, and the guy asks his mother what is going on there. The woman claims that she should be the one asking, because Kana returned home and was kicked out, and she also harmed Orsini. The main character wonders if she is really saying that she was kicked out, but she just got married and left. The woman gets angry after this, but her son claims that he brought the lady there, so let his mother be polite to his guest. Chloe wonders if this girl is his guest, but they haven't seen each other with Kana for a long time, so she apologizes and claims that she would be lying if she said that she was glad to see her, to which the girl replies that the feeling is mutual. The woman claims that Orsini is now suffering from pain and that she is the only one with a neutralizer, so let her stop torturing him and help, but the girl asks if that's all. However, she says that first, she would like to hear an apology for what happened earlier. The woman is a little surprised after this and apologizes. She claims that she was wrong and it will not happen again. Kana wonders if everything is really that simple and that it's probably all a matter of experience because she's much smarter than Orsini. The main character says that she forgives her and then takes a jar out of the chest of drawers. She claims that a few drops are enough to heal the wound. The girl understands that she of course wanted to hear an apology from Orsini, but now it doesn't matter because he has no value for her and she just got bored. At this time, the woman happily looks at the neutralizer, but then remains silent for a while, and he wonders if it wouldn't be better for the lady to give it to him herself, since after all the creator knows best what and how. Kana wonders if she really doesn't want to use something she knows nothing about, after which she says, okay, and let her take her to Orsini. A little while later, the young man looks at the lady and says, what a scoundrel she is. Well, the main character claims that another word no was accidentally spoken into this bottle from her hand. The lady also tells him to keep quiet and not twitch, because she promises to do everything quickly. After which, the guy just turns away, and the girl asks if it really hurts that much. He simply asks what she's doing, and the main character asks if he really trusts her. And are you sure that this product won't corrode his skin and reach his heart? The woman at the same moment turns to Kana screams, "What is she saying?" The main character wonders what could be wrong. She just wants the guy to be careful in the future. The girl at the same moment claims that she is joking and wonders if such a talented swordsman could be afraid of something like that. The woman screams at her again, and the lady replies yes, after which she pours the liquid onto the wound. At that very moment, she begins to tighten, and the others are surprised by this. Chloe understands that the wound healed instantly, and even though it is a neutralizer, but really, Kana actually created it using alchemy, and wasn't that just a waste of time? At this time, the main character gets up and asks if they are happy. And since he's feeling better, she goes back to bed. She wonders what she's wasting her time on instead of sleeping, so she needs to rest. And let them just try to wake her up again. At that moment, the lady caught her breath. She seemed to instinctively sense someone's presence. When the lady looked up, she saw Alexander Addis and wondered why he was there. The man then simply extended his hand towards the lady and then placed it on her cheek. He also turns to Kana Addis, and the girl is shocked and wonders what is going on. He'd never touched her before, so she doesn't even know what's changed. She also realizes that her name isn't Kana Valentino, but Kana Addis. The man says he welcomes her back, and the woman replies that they haven't seen their father in a while. The woman also realizes she didn't mean to call him that and wonders what's going on with her. The lady also understands that she needs to wake up because this man can kick her out of the estate at any moment, after which the girl says that she will explain everything. The other two are watching this at this time, and the woman is wondering what is going on. Didn't he forbid Kana from returning to the estate? So why doesn't he kick her out and yell at her? But he listens so attentively, and the girl finishing her story claims that she wanted to help Lucy, so she asks not to blame Cullen. The man only remains silent in response to this, and the main character mentally asks him to say at least something. If he is going to scold her, then let him do it quickly. But at the same moment, the man replies that it's fine and let her do that. What he considers necessary, and the girl asks if it is really possible to do this. At this point, the man just turns around, and the main character is shocked, wondering if he really said that, and didn't even threaten to send her into eternal sleep. The next day, after the Duke's shocking words, someone cries out for her interlocutor to repeat them. The woman asks what happened while she was not home, and whether Kana has returned. This girl is Cullen's twin sister, named Isabelle Addis, and now all the family members are together. The girl understands that 7 years ago, when her sister got married, she thought that they would never meet again. Because of her father's warning, she was not allowed to go out in society, and she heard that her husband's family treated ladies terribly. The girl was very happy about this, because it would be better not to have a sister at all than such a sister. However, now Chloe claims that Cullen signed a contract with Kana Addis, and she will help Lucy in exchange for living there. The girl is shocked after this and asks what to understand by this. A little while later, she bursts into her brother's room. Isabelle claims that she knows everything and is interested in what he was thinking and how this girl can help Lucy. Her interlocutor replies that after her treatment, Lucy became much better. Well, the woman wonders if he really believes this dirty girl, since she doesn't know anything about medicine. The girl also says that she may be able to do it. But is that enough to allow her to stay there? Her interlocutor asks if she is saying that this is not enough, and he means that Lucy's illness is not a very significant reason for hurry. The girl then realizes that this lady is the daughter of a maid, so who cares about her condition anyway? It's very strange that my brother is so worried about this. After which, the girl screams at her brother and claims that she is his twin sister, so why would he take care of Lucy more than her? Well, at that very moment, the man tells Isabelle Addis to get out of there right now. When the girl finds herself outside the door, she is shocked and wonders if he really just kicked her out and what she did wrong. The lady also goes to Brother Orsini, and when she cries out to him, she tells him to just listen, because that scoundrel Kana has returned. And suddenly, she will stay forever. But Cullen doesn't even want to listen to her. Well, when she sees her brother, she asks if he doesn't listen to her and wonders what's wrong with him. The girl realizes this is terrible and doesn't even know who to complain to. A short time later, she finds herself outside the Duke's office. But then the girl turns around and realizes that she is afraid to go to her father because she has been afraid of him since childhood. Although he never scolded her or punished her, she is still afraid of him. People who don't know him find him attractive because he's superior in their eyes and also has power. Many envy her for having such a father. But this is just a beautiful shell because you only need to look into his eyes. After all, he looks at her and the whole family as inanimate objects. But her words won't change anything. The girl looks out the window and sees Kana and understands that she does not want to see her in this house, but does not know what to do. A little while later, she runs up to her sister and claims that they haven't seen each other for a long time, after which she asks how she chewed. However, when Isabella approaches her sister, who thinks what a dirty girl this is, and she won't catch this blackness from her eye, the main character turns to Isabelle and asks how she is. And if she's been doing well, Isabelle wonders if the girl doesn't even stutter around her. She also asks her sister if it's true that she's treating Lucy too, which the girl replies that yes, she does. Her interlocutor claims that this is incredible, because even doctors couldn't help. So how does she manage to do this? And the girl asks her to tell about it. But at the same moment, the main character answers that no. And when her interlocutor is surprised, the girl asserts that she will not explain anything to Isabelle, after which she pushes the girl's hand away from herself, and he suggests they stop pretending they're close. Isabelle is shocked after this. A little while later, she is already sitting over a cup of tea and realizes that this could really drive her crazy. The girl wonders if this lady has gone crazy because good relationships used to bring her joy. And why did she tell her not to pretend? Isabelle understands that she has no words and that if she cannot kick her out, but then the girl understands that this cannot be. Kana is just an insect, and there is a reason she hates it. This girl has been nothing but trouble since Kana appeared. Horrible rumors began to spread about their family, all because of the color of her hair and eyes, which represents bad luck and resembles black fog. This compared her to those madmen who worshipped black fog. Because of this, they said he was the Duke of Addis, and people believed him because they believed Kana was born from the Duke's affair with one of his followers. Rumors spread very quickly, and there was even talk of stripping the Duke of his title. The only thing that helped him was the appearance of monsters in the capital, which he got rid of. The girl understands that only the Addis and Valentino families can resist the black fog. The father could not have sired a child with a black follower. Since then, the lady no longer had any doubts. But with age, Kana's hair and eyes did not change their color. This girl is sinister and disgusting and also dirty. People understood that she was probably like an insect to them. Therefore, she did not understand why she should treat her well. And now the girl claims that this girl needs to be kicked out of the house. The only thing that gets in the way is the contract that Cullen signed with her. And the girl wonders if it was really necessary to do this. But at the same time, Isabelle thinks that if she can benefit from this, after all the guy said that Kana would stay there and treat Lucy, after which the woman smiles and comes up with an idea. A short while later, the protagonist is sitting and reading a book. These turn out to be Juhua's notes. In them, she writes that it seems Kana was an outcast even within her own family and was called trash. There's no place for her in the entire country, and no one has warm feelings for her. The protagonist realizes that Kana's life was terrible, and now she has to return to it. A society striving for equality, warm family relationships. This is what Juhua's life was like growing up. And Juhua herself found herself in a place where no one welcomed her. The 17-year-old girl was all alone in this big world. The lady understands that although she was irritated by her thoughtless actions, she does not blame this girl because she was able to live 12 years in the shadows because she had lived like that before. It is not their fault, but the fault of those who oppressed them, and these people are simply disgusting. So I want to leave this place as soon as possible. Luckily, Lucy is getting better, so there isn't much time left. But at that very moment, someone opens the door and addresses Lady Kana. The girl insists that she must come with them as it is her mistress's order. The main character wonders why it happened so suddenly and what it means. When the servants grab her, the girl tells them to let her go and asks what is going on there. But her interlocutor replies that Lucy is now in a terrible state. A little while later, one of the maids answers Madame that they have brought Lady Kana. Someone asks if sister has come. Meanwhile, the lead actress asks what the girl did with the baby and what they should do since Lucy's condition has worsened again. The main character also sees the maid Lucy and Cullen. When the main character approaches the bed, she tells Cullen to move away because she is looking at the girl. Well, the man immediately pushes the lady away and tells her not to come near her because he shouldn't have trusted her with her treatment. Kana turns to Cullen and claims that she needs to understand what is happening to the girl, but the guy only looks menacingly at the lady, after which he even claims that it is all her fault because the girl has never been so bad, so he no longer trusts her. Well, the main character is wondering if now is the right time for this. She says that they can continue to cry and throw tantrums. If he wants to blame her and kick her out, that's great, but now she doesn't have time to care about his feelings. The main character points to the baby and claims that his sister is sick now, so he shouldn't bother her. Isabella is shocked and wonders if she has gone crazy. Cullen remains silent, after which the girl says that if he understands everything, then he should move away, and he moves away. The main character examining the baby thinks about what could have happened, because she really did get worse. But after the second procedure in the morning, everything was fine with her, but now she has weak breathing and also convulsions. These symptoms have nothing to do with facial paralysis. This is not a new disease. The type of illness develops gradually, as if you are immersed deeper and deeper in water. It cannot appear so quickly and without any symptoms. Therefore, there is only one explanation for this. Their main character turns to the maid. Then he asks what Lucy ate today. The woman asks what she's talking about, and Kana asks what the girl ate during the day, so she can tell everything down to the last detail. But at that very moment, Isabelle screams that enough is enough, because this is already going beyond all limits. She asks if the girl doesn't feel sorry for Lucy, since she already brought her to this state, and she knew that the girl used Lucy to return to the Addis family. And she had no talent for medicine, but she didn't think that the girl would go so far. The main character asks how long the maid will remain silent, and let her tell her everything that Lucy ate today. The maid later claims she ate something strange. Kana says she was fine until this morning. Therefore, she can only admit one option, because of which she could have become so ill in just a few hours, because if she ate something, after which the maid wants to say something about the main character. She made a meal plan for Lucy and asked if she had eaten anything that wasn't on the list. But at that very moment, Isabelle screams for her to stop. The lady with red hair is shocked and thinks how it all came to this, because this scoundrel couldn't have guessed, so it needs to end. Isabelle claims that she told her to stop, because how long can she use Lucy? She doesn't care that she wants to stay there, but pretending to be a doctor and doing whatever she wants with the baby is too much. The girl also claims that she will not allow her to continue torturing Lucy, and also understands that the drugs she used cause high fever, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. But she didn't think that everything would go so far. And when the girl opens the door, then he screams for the servants to grab Kana and lock her in the room. One of them asks if he really has to do this, and the girl screams, "What are they worth?" After which he asks if they didn't hear what she just said and why they are still there. After all, they really don't want to leave her with Lucy. Chloe realizes what's going on, after which he tells them to do as Isabelle said, because it looks like Kana is tired, and it's better for her to rest in her room. The girl looks happily at her mother, and one of the knights says that they will do as the madame orders, after which he approaches the lady and tells her to come with them. The main character screams, "Are they really in their right minds? Because now is not the time for this, and this child needs help." At this time, Isabelle is wondering why they are interfering and whether it is because of her situation, after which the girl screams at them to move and take this girl out even by force. The main character wonders what she is talking about, but at the same moment, one of the knights picks her up and throws her over his shoulder, and the girl realizes that they are treating her like a Scot, after which she screams for them to stop. But at that very moment, someone else screams out, asking what they are doing. It turns out it's Cullen, and the guy is still telling them to stop right now. The main character wonders what's wrong with this guy and why he's doing this. When one of the knights addresses the Lord, he just tells them to get out of the way and takes his sister. Kana remembers how when she was little, a boy would come into her room, but now she is only wondering if he wants to let her go, after which Cullen asks for forgiveness. And he says that these knights are already leaving, to which they agree and go out the door. Isabelle tells them to wait, then asks her brother what he is doing since Lucy is in this state because of Kana. But the guy just tells Isabelle to shut up, because how dare she order the guards to grab her sister? And what was she thinking? The girl is a little surprised after this, and wonders if he is angry, and why her brother is protecting this girl and not her. Isabelle wonders how this happened, and when her brother managed to get close to this dirty girl. But this is no longer funny. The lady immediately turns to her mother and asks if she heard what her brother said. She also wonders why she should listen to all this, because she was just worried about Lucy. Chloe understands that although it is annoying that he is protecting Kana, it is better not to interfere with the evil Cullen. The woman claims that she is tired and needs to rest, after which the girl in shock turns to her mother. She also tells her to wait, and the woman replies that it is already quite late, after which she invites the girl to go with her, but she replies that she will stay there in case something happens to Lucy. The woman asks if this is true, after which she states that she will leave first. At this time, Cullen turns to Isabelle and tells her to come out too. When the girl turns to her brother in surprise, he only tells her not to make him repeat it twice. The main character understands that this girl is behaving too suspiciously, and could it really be she who did this? After which, the girl insists that everything is fine and he can leave her. Kana understands that it's only a matter of time before the truth comes out, after which the girl turns to the maid and says that what is more important is to let her tell her what Lucy ate today. Isabelle says in her thoughts that she should be calm and that her aunt is not going to tell the truth. But Cullen tells the maid not to worry and just tell them everything, after which the maid replies that the food was prepared according to his recommendations, and the lady did not eat any other snacks. I just drank tea after eating, and she said it tasted strange and nothing else. Then the main character asks the maid to bring her the tea, and the girl agrees. Isabelle wonders what she's about to bring, but then realizes everything will be fine, because only a professional could detect this additive. A little while later, the maid brings tea. The main character asks if Lucy drank this tea, to which the woman replies that yes. Kana opens the container of tea, and when Cullen smells it, he wonders if it is lavender tea. The maid replies that yes, and Lucy loves it very much. But when the main character pours out this tea, they are surprised. Kana realizes that, as she thought, this is it. The red-haired lady says it's just regular lavender tea, and she likes it too. The girl also wonders if Lucy could have made a mistake, and perhaps her tastes have simply changed. The person with red hair realizes that she needs to keep up the act, and she claims that she has never heard of lavender tea causing any problems, so she thinks it's a mistake. But the main character replies that everything is not so, because something else was added to the tea. The girl then asks in shock what she is talking about, and gets up from her seat. She screams to her sister that this is too much, because they would have immediately understood if there was something else there. The girl also wonders if she is really saying that she can determine that something was mixed in, but let her try, since she has no evidence. Isabelle also tells her brother to smell it himself and asks if he smells anything other than lavender. He would have recognized it if there was something else there. The girl also turns to the maid and tells her to also say that she heard that it was she who served Lucy this tea. Cullen claims that it really is the scent of lavender, and the maid tells the master that it is true because she doesn't smell anything except lavender. Nothing that would arouse suspicion. Isabelle understands that this is what needed to be proven. She also tells her sister that she thinks it's time to stop because she doesn't think that doing this to the baby is too much. The woman also understands that she was simply lucky to find out about the supplement because no one would believe her anyway, and then she wonders if she really has nothing to say in response. The lady with red hair claims that this is too serious a statement to ignore, and she apologizes, but claims that she will have to tell her father to kick her out of there. Kana asks if this is true, and her interlocutor wonders if she still doesn't want to admit her mistake, since she only pretended to know something. And if she were in her place, she would never have done this to Lucy, and she did not expect that sister would turn out like this. The lady with red hair sighs and realizes that she did it, and now she will throw this girl out of there once and for all. But at the same moment, the main character says that it seems that Isabelle is overexcited, and maybe she should calm down a little. The red-haired lady asks what she's even talking about, since she no longer has a reason to stay there. Kana replies that she doesn't think so. Luckily, they still have some tea leaves left, but the girl asks what's wrong with Togo. The main character tells the maid to brew some tea from them and serve it to Isabelle. After all, maybe after tea she will feel better, and the girl thinks what the lady wants to say by this. Kana claims that she herself said that she loves this tea, and she asks if this is true. A little while later, the maid brings tea, but Isabelle is no longer there, and they all silently look at this tea. The protagonist realizes she never imagined the girl would run away so quickly. Isabelle ran away as soon as she offered her the tea. The lady with red hair claimed that she was not in the mood, so she would better go. She also said it was a waste of time. But now running down the hallway, Isabelle realizes she almost got caught, but it was for the good of the family. She didn't think that Lucy's condition would worsen so much, and that she would never forget the look in her brother's eyes. And he's so terrifying! Cullen sighs and says that it was Isabelle after all. He also asks what was added to the tea leaves, and then the main character points to several flowers. She claims these are wolfberry flowers, or more precisely, their buds. But her interlocutor claims he doesn't see any difference. Kana says that if you listen to them, they'll resemble tea leaves in color and shape. They're hard to tell apart because they have virtually no scent. Well, if you look closely, you can see that the tea leaves are twisted into a tight curl, and those that are a little darker are wolfberry flowers with a rounded bud shape. The guy says that he understood, and now he sees the difference, after which he becomes interested. Are these flowers really poisonous? The main character replies that they are not healing, and the young man cries out, "Why then?" But before he can finish his question, the ladies claim that in large quantities they are harmful, and the symptoms of poisoning include abdominal pain, fever, and diarrhea. Although this is not so serious. Well, the guy claims Lucy was really sick. She was vomiting, had convulsions and seizures. But the girl is now having trouble even breathing, and it's not just a slight stomachache. The guy also asks what if there was some other poison, but the main character suggests that he calm down. Kana claims she knows the reason, because wolfberry flowers are incompatible with the electricity she recommended. The decoction that Lucy is now taking contains licorice, and when mixed with wolfberry, their toxicity increases. The girl claims that if you use them separately, everything will be fine, but if you mix them, you get a toxic mixture. She also claims that only a doctor can prescribe this medicine, and she is sure that whoever did all this did not expect such consequences. He probably just wanted to make Lucy look sick. The girl claims that if she can't cure Lucy, she'll break the terms of the contract, and then she will have to leave this house. And besides, the situation has taken a serious turn, and the culprit simply ran away. The girl understands that naturally, Isabelle will not receive any punishment. At this time, Callan wonders if Kana can cure Lucy, but the main character tells him not to worry, because the girl will get better as soon as she takes this medicine. The girl turns to the maid and tells her to go to the pharmacy and ask her to prepare everything on this list of medications. She will do it herself, to which the girl agrees. At this time, Cullen asks for forgiveness for what happened earlier. But the main character is only interested in what he is talking about and why he suddenly apologizes. The girl also tells him not to worry because she will not break their contract and will cure Lucy. Well, her interlocutor tells her sister that he didn't mean that. After this, the girl asks why he calls her sister. Let him call her as before, it's more familiar that way. Kana claims that she shouldn't behave like that because he hates her. A month later, the girl runs up to her sister, and the main character asks if she slept well. Lucy replies yes, and wishes her sister good morning. The main character realizes that she was already close to curing Lucy, but she had to face another enemy. Recovery is only one step towards achieving her goal, and as soon as the baby is fully recovered, she will leave this disgusting place. At this time, the girl claims that she had a dream in which she and her sister were eating sandwiches and drinking milk in a meadow. Kana realizes the girl is always chattering and asks her to get well. Soon Kana says it must have been fun, and the little girl replies that yes, that's what she's talking about, after which the sisters are invited to go for a walk together. The main character asks where, after which her interlocutor suggests going into the city. There she will be her sister and brother Cullen. Kana asks what she is talking about, but at the same moment, someone tells the girl not to worry. After all, he won't go with them. And the main character claims that this is not the issue and also thinks what's wrong with this guy. But he irritates her. Kana understands that she is in this house for only two reasons. And firstly, she needs to get permission for a divorce. And secondly, she doesn't want to launch her alchemy tools, and she's not interested in anything else. So when she leaves this place, she won't even talk about summer. The lady understands that she needs to stop thinking about this and needs to finish it as quickly as possible. The girl also thinks why she needs to ask permission to get a divorce, and why these are such disgusting rules. After which the main character puts her cup back and apologizes to the little girl. Well, she claims that she still has things to do, after which she suggests going another time. Lucy tells her sister that everything is fine, and the main character realizes that it's time for her to learn to refuse people. She strokes the baby's head and says how wonderful she is. She sees the girl isn't even being capricious. Kana thinks she's sorry, but when the babies get better, then they'll go wherever she wants. At this time, Callan remembers his sister's words about how they hate her, and the guy understands that it seems she is no longer the same as she used to be, but he does not understand why he continues to think about her words, and more questions appear in his head. A little while later, the guy asked if the lady would leave after fulfilling the terms of the contract, but he also asked if she hadn't been kicked out of the Valentino family's house. The girl replied that this was true, and that she was ready to do anything for the sake of a divorce, so she would leave there and live alone. Let them tolerate her a little longer, because she promises that she will not appear there again. At this time, the young man thinks that secondly, he is tormented by the question of whether she hates him. And thirdly, did he do anything to deserve her contempt? Fourth, did she do anything to deserve his contempt? Everyone around said that her very existence was a sin, and people called her a disgusting devil, and also a child from a black follower. A little while ago, the little girl handed something to Cullen and claimed that she brought it for him. The guy understood that this was an idiot who smiles, even if you hit her with a stone, and then the guy thought that he understood. He hates the girl because they find reasons for it, and so he took the stone in his hand. But then he completely let go of it and realized that it was a lie, because the lady was simply unlucky to be born with black hair. And no one has the right to judge her for something she cannot change. It was he who committed a terrible act, and it is all his fault, but the past cannot be changed. The guy realizes that he understood everything too late, and all this time, the lady was just a stepsister who was despised by her own family. A little while later, the main character says that she will go, and Lucy asks her sister to be careful, after which the main character leaves. Cullen realizes that he has a strange feeling, and he doesn't even know what he wants, and whether he needs to correct all the mistakes. Well, he's also wondering if it's too late to do this. There's not a drop of deception in his thoughts, and he knows he shouldn't, but he continues to worry about the lady. Kana realizes that it seems the Duke should already be in his office, after which she understands that she has nothing to fear. A little while later, the girl approaches the office of Duke Alexander Addis and realizes that she hasn't been there for so long that she's even a little nervous. A whole month had passed since their last meeting, and then the girl knocked on her father's office and asked if she could come in. The man replies that she can come in, and the lady gets a little scared. Well, then she realizes that in order to leave there, she needs her father's permission for a divorce. Therefore, everything will be fine. She doesn't need to worry because there's no escape from this anyway. The girl enters her father's room and realizes that time seems to have stopped. She hears the sound of a fountain pen scratching paper and sees her father, who has a habit of wearing glasses while working. And even this magnificent face, all this has not changed one bit. Kana turns to her father and says that if it's not too much trouble, he could give her a little of his time. The man wonders if he is not giving it to her right now, and the main character understands that he is picking on her every word, after which she claims that she needs to tell him something. The man suggests that she talk about the lady, and understands that she needs to calm down and not give in to emotions, after which she turns to her father and asks him to give her permission to divorce Duke Valentino. Her interlocutor asks if she's talking about divorce, and she replies that it's because of Valentino's family. Kana realizes she sacrificed her shins for this. Her father then takes off his glasses, and the lady states that she thinks he is acquainted with Countess Josephine Elster. It is her mother-in-law who ordered to greet her 3 times a day at a certain time. At the slightest delay, she first scolded her, and then taught her discipline with rods. Kana claims she has suffered appalling treatment over the past 7 years of marriage. The girl turns to her father and claims that although she is the daughter of the Addis family, even the servants despised her, and every morning the maid poured water on her to wake her up and sometimes hit her in the face. The lady understands that the more she remembers this, the angrier she becomes. Well, she needs to restrain her emotions because she shouldn't expect compassion from such a cold-blooded person, and this should not look like an insult to her personally, but as an insult to the Addis family, after which he will have to respond to the insult towards his family. Kana claims that they are disrespectful to the Addis family, so she cannot live in such a place, and she needs to divorce him as soon as possible. After which, the lady asks to allow her to get a divorce, and wonders if her father will refuse even after hearing everything. But the man replies that it's fine, and the main character is surprised. He also claims that he will order the butler to prepare all the documents. Kana is shocked and asks if he is really giving her permission, and thinks that maybe she didn't hear, and on the body he told her to go and plunge into eternal sleep there. The Duke asks if he should change his mind, but the girl immediately replies no, and asks to allow her to get a divorce, to which he agrees. Kana wonders if he'll really do this after all, as she'd thought. Passing it off as an insult to the Addis family was a great idea. Afterward, the girl thanks her father and wonders if this was all a dream, and how everything could have been resolved so quickly. That is, her father is not against his daughter getting divorced and returning home, but she needs to think about her next steps. The girl, meanwhile, insists that she'd also like to leave the empire and live in some coastal town in the kingdom of Alden. The protagonist realizes she's lying, of course, but right now she needs to please the Duke. The lady also says that after the divorce, she will immediately leave this house and never return, after which the girl bows and says that she has to go and apologizes for disturbing him, but the man claims that he changed his mind, after which he says that she can't get a divorce, which shocks the lady. She wonders if he really changed his mind so quickly out of the blue, after which she asks why. And her interlocutor replies that he is not obliged to explain the reason, but the lady claims that he agreed in the first place, and the man claims that it is his right. Kana understands that there is, of course, no point in seeking agreement, since it will not achieve anything anyway. The girl also wonders if he is not the Grand Duke of Addis. Well, she also understands that she won't give up so easily, and even though it's humiliating, she needs his permission, after which the girl asks if he will really give it to me, and if he wants to tell her that she needs to live in Valentino's estate and continue to suffer. The man replies that no, and she does not need to go back there because the lady can stay there until other orders are given. But she can't leave there without his permission, and moving to the kingdom of Alden is no exception. After this, the main character thinks about the kingdom and understands that now everything is clear. After all, she shouldn't have told you about your plans, and a father won't wish happiness on his unloved child because he wants to force her. On her knees begging him for permission to divorce, she had already forgotten how much her father hated her. After which, the girl says that her father should know something because she is disappointed in him, and also hope that he will change his mind in the future. After which, the lady leaves completely, but at that very moment, someone turns to the sister. The girl realizes that it is Isabelle, who is carrying a letter in her hands. The main character asks if it is Isabelle, and realizes that she is lucky today. Her interlocutor wonders if she was really with her father, and Kana asks what happened to Togo. And is the girl really afraid that she told him she poisoned Lucy? Kana thinks he only has to look at how pale the girl has become, but she heard that Cullen scolded her so harshly that she even cried, and the lady looks depressed. The main character says that it seems the girl has finally realized her mistake, and this is good news. After which, she even tells her to get out of the way, but the lady with red hair screams at her to wait. After which, she hands the letter to the girl and tells her to take it. This is an invitation from the imperial family, and she is interested in whether the girl knew that the banquet in honor of the second princess's birthday will soon take place, although she still wouldn't have gone there, or rather wouldn't have been able to go. After all, even there, she would have to hide so as not to attract unnecessary attention, and the woman asks if Kana understands what she is talking about. After all, she's just an idiot who can't even respond to an invitation, and that's how they differ. After all, she can't even stand next to people, so let the lady not realize it. Isabelle claims that even if she does something, she is the beloved daughter of the Addis family, and would anyone dare compare her to such trash? So let the girl not overestimate herself, after which the lady with red hair leaves. The main character understands that the people in this house have not changed, and they just want her not to attract attention to herself. But the girl also understands that she will no longer indulge these idiots. As a child, the girl always hid in the basement to avoid being seen by her family. At first, it was scary to be there, but then she got used to it, and the lady could calmly practice alchemy there. This was her talent, and extracting mana from magic stones required innate abilities. Therefore, when at an early age she managed to repeat the experiment from the book, she was very happy. The girl thought that she would be praised for it, and then she had hope. But if you remember how the father reacted to this, he only told the girl to put it away and not dare to show it to others, because if she blabs, he will destroy her laboratory. That's how it all happened, and her father gave her neither approval nor praise, but tried to hide her talent. This was to be expected, because this man doesn't want her to be happy. She must have lived the good life for too long, because she was used to the success that could be achieved by working hard. And so she hoped that he would at least explain the reason for the refusal. But this became her biggest mistake, because of which her plan had a bad outcome. When the main character enters her laboratory, she screams that this man is a damn psychopath, after which she even says that this Addis should plunge into eternal sleep and roll to hell. Then the girl sighs completely and also understands that her plan failed because she did not get divorced or leave her family. If only she knew a way she would return back to Juhua's body, and she's not going to hide in the corners. The girl understands that it has always been difficult to deal with the Duke, so she needs to think about her plan. Now the priority is divorce and the main goal is a happy life, and also opening a hospital. Although the circumstances have changed, she has worked hard for 10 years for this dream, but the probability of returning to Juhua's body is low, so she needs to arrange her current life. The girl understands that she must move towards her goal, and since things didn't work out with the Duke, it's time to come up with something better. And now is just the right time, after which the lady examines Isabelle's gift. This is an invitation to a banquet to celebrate the birthday of the second Princess Liliana Iseberg, and also the place where all the aristocrats will gather. But the girl understands that she is also one of them, and she is the Duchess of Valentino from the Addis family. And until now, that name has never been praised. She is a duchess who is not considered a mistress and is despised even by her servants. She is a terrible woman compared to her husband, and her gloomy appearance played no small part in this. The lady has black hair that no one wants to touch and long bangs that cover her eyes. To succeed, she needs to solve this problem, and then she'll be able to stand proudly in front of everyone. The girl recalls her sister's words about how she can't even stand next to people, insisting that they'll just have to watch. At the same moment, someone else asks if he can come in, and the girl wonders if it could be Cullen, after which she says yes. The guy comes into the room and claims that he heard his father did not give permission for a divorce. The main character wonders if he is really angry that she is staying there, but it is she who needs to rebel there. And the lady says that if he wants her to leave, then he should tell her father about it, because it was he who ordered her to stay there. The guy shouldn't worry, because she doesn't want to linger either, so she suggests pretending she doesn't exist. The guy asks if the lady really wants to live in such a place, and why doesn't she go up to the lab upstairs? Kana asks if he's talking about the lab upstairs, to which he replies that yes, and that there's no point in staying in the basement. She wonders what he's up to this time, and she's been through enough already that she'll be able to tell the truth from lies. He's probably just curious, and when they were little, the little girl asked Cullen why he came to the lab, and whether he really wanted to talk to her about something. But the guy just pushed the lady away, and then claimed that he came to warn her, so that the lady never goes upstairs because he doesn't want to see her face. And this was the beginning of new bullying. And then she was locked in the basement for 3 days, and she would have definitely fallen into eternal sleep there if it weren't for a passing servant who found her. And did he really then suggest that she go upstairs? The girl turns to Cullen and says that there is no point in coming there for trifles, because wouldn't it be better for them not to run into each other again? When a young man addresses his sister and wants to object, the girl asks if he really called her sister, and if they hadn't already discussed this, since he should just address her informally. Or he wants to call her Duchess Valentino. Her interlocutor is silent for a while after this, and then even states that it seems the lady is not in the mood to talk to him now, but he asks to be allowed to add something. The guy claims he is there to propose a deal, and the lady asks what it is. The young man understands that this is the only way to continue the conversation, after which he asserts that he wants the lady to continue to take care of Lucy's health. The main character asks if he still doesn't believe that she can get better, and the guys answer that it's not about that, because Lucy already has health problems. Because she is an illegitimate child of a maid, everyone looks down on her, and this puts a lot of pressure on her. The main character realizes that it seems the guy noticed much more than she thought. But then the girl asks what happened to Togo. After which, Cullen asks the lady to prepare medicine for her to strengthen her body and spirit. But the baby is often sick, so he asks to examine her every day. Kana understands that this is a good offer, after which she says that they have agreed, but she asks what in return. Her interlocutor replies that anything, and he will give her whatever the lady wants. The main character asks if this is really true, then declares that she wants 2,000 gold coins every month. She understands he's unlikely to like that, so she agrees. And even though she'd better name a larger amount, she'd rather not offer a smaller one. Her interlocutor immediately replies that they've agreed, and the lady wonders what he's talking about. Cullen says he'll give her 2,000 gold coins every month and asks if she wants anything else. At this time, the lady wonders if he really understood her, since she said gold and not silver, and she wonders if she misheard. Her interlocutor replies that it doesn't matter whether it's 2,000 silver or gold coins, because if she wants silver coins, she'll get those too. But the girl wonders if the guy has that kind of money. At this time, Cullen asks if she wants anything else. The girl replies that she wants a responsible and well-trained maid, and the guy asks what else. The girl wonders if he is talking about something else, and understands that she certainly likes such generosity, but she doesn't know why. He is ready to do anything for Lucy and values her very much. So why didn't he treat her the same way? If things had been like this in the past, perhaps she wouldn't seek revenge. The girl also extends her hand and asks her brother to accompany her to the banquet, celebrating Her Highness's birthday. A little while later, the lady realizes that she thought it would be a humiliating offer for Cullen to accompany the sister he hates so much. Well, he agreed too easily and even signed the contract. However, she doesn't know what he has planned, but now he is bound by the terms of the contract, so she'll take full advantage of it. A little while later, the maid the lady had requested arrived. A girl named Leah Merwin approaches the Duchess and says that everything is ready. The girl wonders where he found this girl, because she was not at all scared when she saw her. This is, of course, good. Well, girls, I wonder what about her skills, and her interlocutor is interested in how she can cut the mistress's hair. Kana replies that she only needs to trim her bangs, and so that her eyebrows are visible, to which the girl agrees. The main character realizes she needs to get a lot done before the banquet begins. She then tells the maid to run all the errands and find her a new dress, to which the maid agrees. Kana understands that she is interested in seeing her reaction a little while later. She claims that the girl cuts hair well, and it's simply excellent. Her interlocutor becomes embarrassed after this, and when the main character turns to her, the maid apologizes and claims that she was so surprised. Kana claims that after seeing her reaction, she is looking forward to the banquet even more, and now that day has come because it is time for the banquet in honor of the second princess's birthday. Orsini asks his brother if he will accompany this scoundrel, and if it is not insulting. Isabelle wonders if the girl really wants to go there, even after her words. O asks if the girl has found Cullen's weak spot. He can't believe he agreed to this voluntarily. His interlocutor replies that it's not true, and the guy claims that then he doesn't understand why he agreed to accompany this scum, because he would never. But then the guy remembers the lady's eyes and stops. And he also says that he doesn't even want to think about it. At this time, Isabelle claims that she does not want to go with Kana. Orsini says that he does too, and if he insists, then they will go in another carriage, to which the guy responds. They can do whatever they want since he's going with Kana. His interlocutor then asks his brother if he's really going to do it, after which he turns around and tells Isabelle that there is no point in telling him anything, to which the girl agrees, and they leave. Cullen realizes that nothing has been heard from his sister for 2 weeks. She continued to treat Lucy, but he was unable to see her because he was constantly working and training. Her maid seemed to be very busy, so there was no opportunity to ask anything. The lady will distance herself even more if she understands that he is trying to find out something and whether she really intends to avoid him. Well, at that very moment, the guy catches himself thinking and doesn't understand why he's thinking about this, because it will be better for him. And why does he even worry about this? It's probably because of guilt. Well, he also wonders why he feels out of place. A little while later, the lady was writing a contract, after which she even asked her interlocutor why he was looking at her so intently, and the guy understood that it was as if he wanted to ask for help. But at the same moment, he understands that he doesn't need to think about it, because these thoughts are disgusting, and it seems the lady doesn't need anything from him. So there is no point in thinking about it, and you need to try to forget it after tonight. But at that very moment, someone turns to Cullen and asks how long he has been waiting. When the young man turns around, he sees Kana. The lady asks him how he likes her perfume, after which the guy thinks why she asks him about this and claims that it smells nice, and the lady understands that he seems embarrassed. The girl also says it's wonderful, and she's glad he likes it. Kana realizes the perfume plan worked, after which she even offers to go, to which her interlocutor agrees. At this time, someone asks what Lady Addis said, and the girl repeats that her sister Kana will be a little late, and her brother Cullen is accompanying her. The lady also believes that this is for the best, since this way she will not cause any problems. But recently, Her Highness has often asked about her, to which the girl replies that everything is correct. The princess believes that this is the same woman that Sylvain used to avoid marrying her. It was suspicious that they got engaged so suddenly, and she tried to meet her in person at least once to find out the reason. But Kana does not attend banquets. Not only she, but also many other aristocrats noticed this, and now she finally decided to show her face. You can count the number of banquets she's attended on one hand, but even there, she either huddles in a corner or runs off into the garden. Her family doesn't particularly care for her, and she's not considered a family member. This woman has isolated herself and is afraid of society. In this case, she is just a weakling who hides in corners from enemies. Let the girl continue to be modest. But at that very moment, Isabelle, looking out from the balcony, is surprised. Someone from the crowd asks if the Duchess of Kana Valentino arrived with Cullen. All the aristocrats are asking if she really came, and it is that same girl with black eyes and hair, and next to her is Cullen Addis. One of the aristocrats claims that he heard that the lady is ugly, and therefore does not dedicate banquets to her. But then who is this beauty? The princess realizes at this point that the lady was described as a poor and unhappy woman, and that's exactly what she expected to see. However, with such a sad description, doesn't she seem too arrogant? Isabelle, in shock, asks what is happening, and the princess realizes that this woman stole Sylvain from her. The main character understands that so far everything is going as planned, but when she looks at her brother, she wonders why he is still there. Half an hour had already passed, and he was frozen there like a statue. The girl also addressed Cullen, and she asks if he wants to chat with the aristocrats over there. But the young man replies no, after which the lady wonders what's wrong with him, and she asks why, to which he replies that he simply doesn't want to. And the lady asks if that's true, and also thinks why he's so stubborn. The girl doesn't understand what he's thinking about, but it seems she's successfully managed to attract his attention. The main character also notices the princess's gaze on hers. She realizes she feels her gaze burning a hole in her. The second princess, named Lillian Iseberg, is the woman who desires Sylvain. And according to her plan, she needs to talk to her at today's banquet. But first, she needs to get rid of this. It would be great to just knock the guy out. At that moment, someone turns to Cullen Addis and asks what he is doing there. The guy claims that he didn't even know that he would come, and then asks who the beautiful lady is next to her. The main character replies that she is Kana Valentino, and says she's pleased to meet him. The girl also realizes that she's giving his show a standing ovation. But she's that same Kana, so he couldn't help but know who she is. The guy says he can't believe it, and they don't look much alike at first glance, and you can't tell they're brother and sister. The young man also claims that his name is Colin Davis, and the girl replies that she is glad to meet him. But she understands that she sees right through this scoundrel, because everything is clear from his eloquent glances alone. He probably meant something about how he heard the lady had terrible black hair, but no one told him she was such a beauty. The guy at this time says that, by the way, he and Cullen have been close friends since early childhood, so he is looking forward to their new meeting, and then he is going to kiss the lady's hand. Well, at that very moment, someone grabs the guy by the hand, and it turns out to be Cullen. The guy asks who his close friend is, and his interlocutor claims that he is in pain, and he wonders if the guy really wants to break his arm, but he just wanted to say hello. At this time, Cullen asks where Colin left his bride, and the guy replies that she seemed to have gone out into the garden to get some air. And then Cullen claims that he will take her to her well, when his interlocutor asks him to wait and let him talk to the guy's sister. He claims that he said to leave here, The main character realizes that she has no idea why he is reacting so violently, but now she can finally get on with her business. At this time, Callan turns to the lady and tells her to stay there because he will return soon. The main character thinks about what he is talking about and then thinks that the guy should not bother. Otherwise, he will stick to her like a leech. She has absolutely no time to play with him because today is a very important day for her, and she is about to take one step, after which someone turns to Duchess Valentino. At the same moment, someone says that Her Highness the Princess should be greeted. The main character claims that it is an honor for her to meet her, and she understands that Lillian Iceberg must take her side. And her first step will be to become her ally. The fact that Princess Lillian chose Sylvain to be her fiancé. He was well known, and Sylvain himself found it difficult to push the princess away. Therefore, he was one step away from the real danger. That is marriage. And naturally, all this happened before Sylvain decided to use his pawn, that is Kana. The lady quickly took the princess's husband from the tray. However, she did not show her face at events, so there was no opportunity to run into her. So the princess was madly interested in everything about cans. Lillian claims that earlier she thought she heard the lady calling her, and the main character asks if that is really true, after which her interlocutor suggests leaving this mannerism because if she were a man, she would definitely decide that the lady was seducing her, and it turned out to be extremely vulgar. Kana realizes that the princess is more straightforward than she thought, and then the main character asserts that she really wanted to meet the Lady Lillian, then asks with a smile, if that's really true. She understands that this girl rudely snatched what she so desired, after which the princess asks why the lady called her, and he also claims that he will give her advice because she doesn't like to beat around the bush, so if she has something to say, let her say it directly. Kana understands that this is better for her and also believes that the lady already knows what terrible neglect she faced. Lillian understands that they say that even the weeds in the Duke's estate have a higher position than the Duchess. The woman claims that everyone knows that the relationship between the Duke and Duchess is very reserved. Then Kana asks the princess if she is aware that Sylvain is such a person, and he will never change, to which the woman replies that of course she is. She also wonders if his whole charm lies in this constancy. After this, the main character wonders if this idiotic charm is really so attractive. Kana also says that she will be honest with the princess and that she is tired of his constant coldness, which surprises her interlocutor. And the girl repeats once again that she is very tired and is not sure that she wants to continue living in this marriage. At this time, the princess wonders if this is really true, and the main character replies that yes, and she even returned to her father's house. However, divorce is not an easy matter for a noble lady, and of course because it affects part of the entire family. Kana observes the princess's reaction and realizes she seems interested. The girl also claims that naturally her father didn't approve of the divorce so easily. However, if a situation suddenly arose where it was impossible to save the marriage, then it will be a completely different story, and then the lady understands. For example, it could be Sylvain's betrayal if the princess continues to pressure Alexander. Then any method will be good, so the best solution would be to become her partner, and so the girl can take Sylvain. At this time, Lillian wonders if Madame really wants her to believe this. The main character realizes that she has almost succeeded, after which she once again turns to Her Highness. But at that very moment, someone approaches them and asks what Her Highness is talking about. It turns out to be Josephine Elster, and the girl wonders why this damned mother-in-law came now. The princess tells the countess that they're having an interesting conversation there, because she heard that Duchess Valentino is now living in her father's house. So the woman replies that everything is so, and she kicked her out. The princess asks the countess if that's really true, and the woman replies that yes, she couldn't stand it anymore. After this, Lillian looks at the main character and realizes that she said that she left herself. Josephine claims that since she sees that the girl has not yet returned, then a conclusion can be drawn, that she is again trying to attract Sylvain's attention in this way, and the princess should not worry about it. After this, the girl thinks that it is clear and wonders why she stood and listened to Kana, but she was enchanted, and if you think about it, it is still obvious. After all, the lady would never have wanted a divorce in the first place. A little while later, someone asked Her Highness if she had heard. After all, they say that Duchess Valentino crawled on the floor, grabbing the Duke by the pants, and the girl asked if this was really true. The maid replied that yes, and this story spread among the servants as rumors. Well, this is not surprising, but everyone says that it was the shameless lady who screamed all the way to the lobby. The princess understands that this girl's goal is clear, because this is a new way to attract attention using her. Kana Valentino just plays with her after, which the girl thinks how dare she. The princess turns to Duchess Valentino and says that she has the guts to believe that she really thought it was funny. The main character asks what Her Highness is talking about and claims that she is mistaken, but the princess screams, "Is she mistaken?" After which she grabs a glass of wine and spills it on Kana. Everyone looks at this in shock, and the princess asks the Duchess not to understand her wrongly. After all, this is a misunderstanding, after which the main character answers that of course. And an unfortunate accident occurred. Her Highness's hand trembled. Lillian remains silent for a moment, and the Countess realizes she's gone mad. Meanwhile, the princess asks the Duchess if she really thinks so, to which the girl replies that the princess said so, which means it's true. Lillian takes another glass from the Countess's hands, after which she asks if this time it will also be an accident, and if she really wants to ask the Duchess again. But at that very moment, someone screams out, "Why, it is so noisy there!" And when the ladies turn around, they understand that this is the Empress. The woman once again asserts that she asked what was going on there. The princess immediately hides the glass behind her back and thinks that it's not her. The main character understands that the Empress accurately noted everything that happened, so there is no point in trying to hide anything from her. After which, the girl also understands that she can very well use this to her advantage. The lady immediately starts crying and apologizes, claiming that she caused them trouble because of her clumsiness. At this time, the Countess and Princess are in shock, wondering what she is talking about. Josephine immediately screams that the girls had better keep their fake tears to themselves, because how dare she behave like that? But at the same moment, the Empress tells Countess Elster to speak more quietly. The woman agrees, and the main character wonders what is going on. At this time, the Empress hugs the girl and says that everything is fine, so there is no need to cry. But the poor thing probably went through something incredibly terrible. Kana realizes she didn't expect the Empress to play along so well. The girl also says she apologizes, and will never do such a thing again, nor will she cause her any trouble. Lillian, watching all this, wonders if the girl is really trying to say that it is her, and then the princess turns to Valentino. But at the same moment, the Empress tells her to be quieter. The woman also claims that the princess is disappointing, because doesn't she think that such behavior is not befitting of a real princess, which she is? She should take more of an example from the first princess, because she is modest and caring. The woman also wonders when the lady will stop being a spoiled child who commits rash acts. Lillian apologizes. She understands that, as the daughter of a mistress, she can't do anything about it every time she finds herself in this situation. Well, even so, is it really possible to humiliate a princess in such a way in front of so many people? The girl also understands that she should have been more careful, because she knew that this girl was there, and if only Kana had not driven her to it. Well, at that very moment, someone else puts a hand on the lady's shoulder and asks Her Majesty what happened. After all, Lillian couldn't possibly have been rude to someone again. Kana realized that this was their first meeting, but she immediately recognized this woman. She was the main character in novels and plays on the Western continent. Currently, at the peak of popularity, and also known as a commoner, who was born to be the emperor's mistress, there is Teresa Iseberg. Previously, she only knew rumors about her, but now she sees with her own eyes why she was able to become the emperor's mistress. The woman insists that she will definitely speak with the lady later, after which he asks Her Majesty for forgiveness. The Empress states that in that case she leaves it to her, and the woman thanks her for her favor. Meanwhile, the Empress orders Duchess Valentino to follow her. After all, she'll treat her to a cup of warming tea. The main character realizes it's thanks to the Empress. She somehow managed to avoid this situation. However, the lady doesn't understand why she cares so much about her, and the girl thinks she has her own ulterior motives, but she doesn't understand what they are. At this time, the woman approaches one of the rooms and offers to talk there. At this time, the main character remembers how the maid said that she had not touched such medicinal herbs for a long time, and in the past, many doctors in the capital had dealt with these herbs. Kana asks if this was really in the past, and her interlocutor replies that yes, Their numbers have now greatly decreased, and Her Majesty the Empress has already driven them all out of the capital. They failed and were unable to cure Her Highness the First Princess. At this time, the Empress asks to be allowed to introduce her daughter, the first princess of the empire named Amelia. The main character immediately bows and states that it is an honor for her to meet the first princess of the empire, to which the girl only remains silent. The main character realizes that she is beginning to guess why the Empress invited her, and she wanted to show her this princess. The lady also wonders why she wears a veil there, and there is probably a special reason why Amelia wears a veil even at banquets. And for example, she has been suffering from a skin disease for a long time. At this point, the Empress puts down her cup of tea and states that she will speak immediately and to the point. She heard that the lady was able to cure the youngest daughter of the Addis house and that she used some unusual medicine, after which the woman asks if this is true. The main character is a little surprised and understands that this is of course true, but she is interested in how the Empress found out, because she asked the Duke to hide it. The woman claims that the lady can speak freely because Chloe Addis told her about what the girl did, and the main character wonders if Chloe really advertised her. Well, the main character also understands that this woman would never have done this with good intentions, but then she thinks why she did it. At that very moment, a terrifying guess pierced the lady's mind, and the woman pushed the Empress to call her. If the girl cannot cure the princess, or she refuses the distraction, then she will have grounds to expel her from the capital. If she makes a mistake, even once she can brand her a fraud, and even involve Lucy in it. Perhaps she wants to get rid of her and Lucy at once, after which the girl replies that it's true. After all, she really did cure Lucy. The girl also understands that all this will only happen if she makes a mistake in the treatment. At this time, the woman says that this is very good, after which she suggests accepting everything and removing the veil. But the girl replies that she doesn't want to because she hates filming it. The woman tells the princess to obey, but she insists that she said no. The woman at that very moment screams at Princess Amelia and insists that it's okay, and she will take it off, so let them watch as much as they want. The girl also claims that she took it off, and then asks if they are happy now. The main character realizes that she has black and red spots all over her skin and whitish peeling around the spots. This must be the so-called incurable disease that everyone has heard about. It seems as if the fungus has spread throughout the entire body, and the Empress sighs and claims that many doctors and healers have tried to cure the princess. However, the result is always practically zero, and sometimes it seemed that the disease had retreated, but then it returned again, and no one could guarantee a noticeable improvement. The woman also approaches the lady and asks if she could cure her daughter. The protagonist addresses Her Majesty and claims she doesn't even know the general state of her symptoms, and asks if she'll allow her to examine her. The woman replies that of course she was a little hasty, but the princess looks unhappy. She screams that she has already taken it all off, after which she asks if it is still not enough for her. At this time, the Empress tells the girl to take off all her clothes and let her be fully examined. The main character is a little surprised and wonders if she really wants the girl to take everything off. But isn't this too much, after which Amelia cries out, "How can a woman demand such a thing?" They are now in a room next to the banquet hall. The girl turns the table over and asks if the woman really wants her to stand there naked like a clown. It would be better to put her on display right away and make a spectacle of her. The Empress says the princess knows perfectly well that the disease has spread throughout her body. The Duchess needs to examine her completely in order to cure her, and the atomic girl screams that she doesn't want it and hates all this. The woman tells the princess not to be so stubborn, and the girl shouts that she will not show her body to the Duchess there. So let them not even think about it, and the main character thinks why this lady is so angry with her. However, she can perfectly understand the princess's feelings because she has come to know people during practice and how weak they can be. The Empress claims the lady is acting foolishly and that it's because of her terrible behavior that they haven't been able to cure her for so long. Kana understands that this also applies to those close to her who care for the patients. But even so, this is too much, and the woman asks Kana to cure the princess's illness. She also wonders if she knows how many years they have been suffering with this. But this ugly skin does not go away, and rumors began to spread that she gave birth to decomposing bodies. Kana understands that the woman treats the lady neither as a sick person nor as a princess, not even as if she were his own daughter. The princess meanwhile insists that she, too, deeply regrets having to listen to such things, and it would be better if she simply fell into eternal sleep and disappeared from her life. The Empress immediately tells the princess to watch her language, but the girl screams, "How could Her Majesty say such a thing? How could she call her a decaying body, and why wouldn't she tell her honestly that she would just fall into eternal sleep and disappear? In that case, she will no longer have to listen to the story that she gave birth to a lifeless body, and she will no longer stand in the way of her beloved son. So let her just order her to fall into eternal sleep," after which the woman screams that she told her to watch her tongue, and does the girl really want to be punished? At this time, the main character turns to Her Majesty and states that, unfortunately, she does not have the necessary tools for treatment with her, and this place is really not suitable for examination, after which she asks to be allowed to visit her later in the palace for an inspection, because she thinks that it will be better for everyone. The woman replies that it's fine, and that's what they'll do, but the main character claims that they've agreed, and then she'll leave first. A little while later, the girl tells Her Majesty that they will see each other next time. When the main character leaves, she realizes that she was finally able to get out of there. But when she watches other people's quarrels, it's so exhausting. After she leaves, they will probably continue, and she wonders how long they have been arguing like this. The lady is sure that they have a lot to say after so many unsuccessful attempts. But at that same moment, the girl realizes that it seems she just heard crying. A little while later, the main character goes out onto the balcony and sighs and says that it's difficult. So much has happened in such a short time, and the girl wonders if all banquets are like this. But she is mentally exhausted. The main character realizes that the plan to join forces with the second princess has failed. Well, she has a better card up her sleeve, and that's a big success, which is what matters most. However, when the lady walked down the stairs, all eyes were fixed on her. There were no good intentions in them, and no one approached her. The main character understands that everything was perfectly clear, and they are all interested in her. If she successfully cures the princess, when everyone is so interested in her, and their expectations are high. But at that very moment, someone comes onto the balcony and interrupts Letty's thoughts. The main character is shocked and wonders if it could really be Orsini. But doesn't this idiot always check in advance whether there is someone on the terrace or not? She didn't see him in the banquet hall, so what a misfortune to meet him there. And she had already suffered enough today, so let him get out of there. At this time, the guy asks for forgiveness and claims that he didn't know that there was already someone there. But he couldn't even imagine that such a beautiful woman was languishing there in anticipation. The main character wonders what kind of nonsense this idiot is talking about and why he speaks in such a gentle voice. After which, the girl tries to hold back her laughter and wonders if this idiot really didn't recognize her. Orsini claims that today is a beautiful night and asks the lady if this is true. But perhaps it's all because he is in the company of such a lovely lady. But tonight truly is a wonderful night. The heroine wonders if he's completely lost his mind and what kind of company this lovely lady is. After all, it's not possible that the guy confused the color of her hair because of the darkness, since some hair can look black when it's dark. But then the main character realizes that she needs to wait because she can use it as she wants. Of course, she feels sick about this, but as soon as he plays along to get revenge, the girl claims that the guy is flattering her. Her interlocutor replies that in no case, because he is sure that no one showers her with compliments at their first meeting. The lady replies that this is all because she doesn't really like banquets and doesn't attend them often, so she doesn't know many people. However, today she decided to come, but as expected, this does not suit her at all. Her interlocutor claims it must be fate since he also hates such events. The protagonist thinks it's such a joke since drinking and having fun are his favorite pastimes. Orsini asks if the lady would like to take a walk with him in the garden, as he would like to accompany her if she does not mind. The girl replies that, of course, and with pleasure, after which she thinks whether he likes it. But the guy looks disgustedly pleased in her gaze, so let him enjoy this delight while he can. After all the despair he will plunge into upon learning the whole truth will be even more colossal. At this time, someone turns to Duke Valentino and asks if he cares that his wife is going for a walk in the garden with another man. His interlocutor asks if the guy made a mistake, to which he replies that he can't answer. He saw her from behind and is sure that it was her dress. He remembered her image, for the lady looked unforgettable, utterly magnificent. This young man is the first prince of the empire, named Argon Iseberg. After this, the guy tells his friend not to say that he had no idea about his beautiful wife. At this time, the man remembers how one day he asked the girl what she was doing, and she answered that she was now the duke's wife. And since they are married, it is worth fulfilling their marital duty. But her interlocutor only looked coldly at the lady, and he told her to leave his room before he called the rumor mill, and they would throw her out. Argon asks how he could treat such a beautiful lady like that, and whether men don't prefer women like that, to which his interlocutor replies that it's not like that. The first prince claims that he is not sure who the man was, but seeing how he saw the lady off, one can guess that they are going to have a fun time together. He then asks if the duke will allow this, since the lady is his wife. Orson asserts that if he marries in the future, he would prefer to be a husband who is attached to his family. It's normal for an aristocrat to have several wives, but he's not like that. One would be enough for him, and the main character says that his future wife is a lucky one. The main character thinks that with such an idiot at the head of the family like him, she can only imagine its collapse. But at that same moment, the girl sees the guy's face and realizes that this is some kind of madness. But it's so disgusting, Orsini claims he'd like to make her the happiest. He also wants to devote himself entirely to the one who will become his wife. The main character understands that with every word, he becomes more emotional, but all his words are useless. He's a sarcastic idiot who spent his whole life drinking, partying, and training with swords, so it's getting harder and harder to listen to him, and she's going to throw up. At that very moment, the guy apologizes, and then says that this concerns his words about family and his future wife. After all, it was all a lie, and in fact he had never even thought about it before. He always couldn't stand men who pleased women with such speeches and considered them idiots, but now he himself behaved like the last freak. And all because he fell in love with her at first sight. The main character is surprised at this point, after which he finally realizes that it can congratulate the guy because he dug his own hole. Now he will suffer from the memories of this moment for the rest of his days. And perhaps he will even bite his tongue out of shame, after which the guy claims that he is late with the question, but is interested in the lady's name. But at that very moment, the main character starts laughing and can't hold back. Her interlocutor asks a little worriedly what happened and whether he really made a mistake. Kana claims that she can't even believe that he's saying all this seriously, and is he really asking why she's laughing? But it's all because it's funny. The lady also asks Orsini if he finds all this funny. The boy immediately remembers his sister and then says that this can't be true. The girl apologizes, but asks if it will be difficult for them to start a family, since in their days, weddings between relatives are not really allowed. And besides, she is already married, after which the guy menacingly addresses Kana, and the girl tells her brother that her heart aches for him, but she can't help in any way. The young man immediately cries out that he'll put her into eternal sleep, but the girl replies that he should do so. She also wonders if it was so long ago that he's already forgotten everything, and if he should continue as usual. Her lips were broken and spitting out red liquid. Her eyes were swollen and full of tears from the unbearable anger on his part. And there wasn't a centimeter on her body that he wouldn't dare to injure. So let him act as usual, and he won't hesitate. The main character wonders how the guy could do this, and whether she's managed to drive him crazy. So she thinks he'd explode like a true Orsini. The main character wonders if he's planning revenge on her. The guy realizes something's wrong. He's always had this girl in his arms, so why does he now feel like their places have changed? Orsini claims that this is true, and it irritates him so much because he could not recognize a pathetic creature like her, and even talked all sorts of nonsense. After which, the guy realizes that this can't be true and asks what's going on, and also whether the girl really thinks she's done something truly great. How dare she do this, and does she really think she could offend him with this? The main character replies that she is not sure and asks what he thinks, because judging by what she sees, everything worked out perfectly. At the same moment, the guy pushes the lady away and screams that there is no need to be mistaken, because who needs her anyway? After which, the guy starts swearing and leaves, and the main character wonders where he went and whether he's really just going to leave. The girl also wonders if he's drunk. She's not sane enough to go through all this right now. Well, then the girl realizes that he always becomes more aggressive when he's drunk. The main character lies down on the grass and wonders what this is all about. She tried so hard to get him to stop. The guy hit her softly as usual, but she wanted to get some hard evidence and use his cruelty as an excuse, and you could even ask Duke Alexander for help. Without evidence, everything will be hushed up, and no one will notice anything, but the girl thinks, why bother at all about something that is not suitable? Because in any case, even in this life, this guy is not a bit of use. The protagonist recalls the guy's face and realizes that his shameful expression made her want to fall into eternal sleep. She also says that it's good and she's satisfied with it, so it's probably time to go back. The lady also realizes there's a lot of grass around her, but when she turns around, she's surprised to see Sylvain Valentino standing in front of her. The girl wonders what this surprise is and how long he's been there. She didn't even notice it. The main character also wonders if he really saw all of this. But well, that's true, and yet what will he do? People understand that she doesn't care after all because she doesn't plan to confront him. But at that very moment, the guy insists she's still there, and there's still some grass left. Kana wonders if he actually spoke to her, but she doesn't understand why. In Juhua's memories, he was always the one who responded, and not once in 7 years had he spoken to her first. And now, I suddenly decided to talk about the weed, after which the girl says yes, but understands that she should get rid of the weed because she still has plans. The girl examines her dress to see where the grass is still stuck. But at that very moment, someone comes up to her from behind and starts to wonder if there is something behind her back. And then she even wonders if Duke Valentino has just touched her. Kana pushes his hand away and asks what he is doing, and the guy shows the grass that was on her dress in his hands. The girl tells him to just tell her next time, because she can handle it herself. Her interlocutor is silent for a moment, then asks if this guy hasn't cleaned himself up either. It seems they've had quite a busy time, and Kana has poor taste in men. The main character wonders what he's even talking about. And did this guy really think that she was playing with fire there, tumbling with a man, and it turns out that he didn't meet Orsini? Hey, the girl thinks, is she really that lucky? Previously, Sylvain had only considered her a duchess in name. After all, she was a silent doll who never showed her face at events. But what would happen if this doll dared to have an affair? And also, what if everyone starts pointing fingers at Valentino's family? Because it's probably offensive, and maybe he even decides to replace her with another doll. If Sylvain wants a divorce, Duke Alexander will have no choice but to approve it. After which, the main character claims that this is true, because at present, her taste in men is simply terrible, which is why she is married to the Duke. Her interlocutor asks if she will admit this, and the main character asks what he is talking about. After which, her interlocutor asks if she is really in such disarray at night in an empty garden, and even her face is burning. Kana realizes that her brother shook her too hard, and because of this, she blushed, after which the girl asks if this is true, and pushing away the Duke's hand, claims that she was left unsatisfied, and it did not turn out as intense as she expected. But there is nothing to worry about, and the lady asks since when he became interested in her personal life, to which her interlocutor remains silent for a while, after which he claims that it doesn't matter to him what Kana does, but let her make sure that Valentino's reputation is not damaged, because it's a lawn on the street. Even animals don't do that, so the guy asks if that's worse. The main character wonders if he just called her a dirty animal. Her interlocutor replies that what she did cannot be considered appropriate behavior for an aristocrat. The protagonist understands that it's good and true that she deliberately presented everything in that light. And all this for the sake of the opportunity to get a divorce. But who gave him the right to talk about her like that? Because he never even looked at Juhua when she so desperately craved his attention. And even after their wedding on their wedding night, she waited for her husband until dawn. Even after returning to this body, he could not distinguish that his wife had become a different person because he continued to neglect her, and he never perceived her as an equal human being. So what right does he have to call her a dirty beast after such an attitude? And the lady turns to the Duke and also claims that she can really understand how much he cares about the prestige of his family, considering that he did not even show up on their wedding night. So why is it that now, after 7 years, he suddenly became interested in how his wife's personal life is doing? Her interlocutor asks if she's doing this because he didn't hug her that night. The protagonist is surprised and realizes that this isn't quite the reaction she expected. The girl also claims that she has no idea how he came to such a thought, And the guy claims that he was laughing all the time. Could it really be that the events of the past hurt her so much? Kana replies that it is true, and she remembers that night a lot. The Duke should not worry, because she is doing this for a completely different reason. And conversely, at that very moment, she finally realized that he never saw her as his wife, and she simply realized too late that it was impossible. Her interlocutor asks what she is trying to say, and the girl understands that she feels a little dirty playing like this. But then the lady claims that he should not misunderstand her, because she understands that he was very busy with work, so his male strength left him, and this is such a shame considering how young he is. And then the main character also says that the Duke has nothing to worry about, because she is not one of those who likes to gossip about others. But still, she is a little upset about this, because he should have told her about this before the wedding. If she'd known about this, she probably wouldn't have married him, and the guy asks if that's true. After that, he insists that in that case, Kana should let him take a step forward and dispel all her doubts. The main character wonders if he still thinks that she is doing this to attract attention and is trying to prove it. The girl wonders if he really is going to drag her into bed like that, and this guy is such a loser. After which the lady tells the Duke to listen to her carefully, because she no longer has any feelings for him. She just wants a divorce as soon as possible, and the only reason it is being delayed is because her father has not given her permission. The lady claims that she is trying to make it happen as soon as possible, so she hopes that in the future there will be no unpleasant surprises involving him, and she will definitely achieve a divorce. The Duke asks if this is true, after which he says okay, and wishes her good night, and the main character thinks what an idiot he is, because from the expression on his face, you can tell that he doesn't believe her at all, but he'll see because she'll prove everything to him. And so ended the lady's first day at the event, where she took her first step toward joining society. The next day, the main character wonders if Orsini is training with a sword. Her companion replies that yes, he left before dawn, and she's heard that it's novice knights who train others, so she assumes he's returned to learning the basics. But the protagonist realizes that the young man is already one of the best swordsmen in the Empire. And besides, an idiot like him would never go back to the basics for the sake of learning a new discipline. And in other words, this means that he is doing this because he is wildly ashamed to cross paths with her. And from now on, the mansion will be much more comfortable. At the same moment, someone knocks on the Duchess's door, and the girl tells her to come in, after which the maid enters the room and claims that the lady has a guest. The girl, in a good mood because of Orsini, asks with a smile who it is, since she doesn't recall anyone notifying her of their visit. A short time later, the protagonist enters the living room, and this guest claims that they have finally met, even though he's been waiting for her for a long time. Well, everything's fine, and the lady can simply apologize. The main character understands that the one waiting for her was the first prince of the empire, but the girl doesn't know why he needed her, and she doesn't think she did anything that would somehow reflect on him. Her companion takes the lady's hand in his and declares that now that he looks at her up close, he sees that she is even more beautiful. Kana is a little surprised and tells His Highness that it is such an honor to meet him. The man claims her voice is also beautiful, and her scent is simply captivating. Kana realizes his gaze makes her feel uneasy in her father's house, so she asks why His Highness sought to meet her, to which the man replies that the Empress asked him to invite the lady. Kana realizes she only met her a day ago, and it seems the woman is in a hurry. The woman says that in that case, she'll immediately prepare the necessary things for the trip, to which her interlocutor replies that that's excellent, and the lady doesn't have to rush. He's not at all bothered by waiting for such a beautiful lady. On the contrary, he'll be glad. The main character wonders what kind of weirdo he is. A little while later, the girl approaches the carriage, and the prince asks if he can help her, to which she replies, no. When the main character gets on the transport, she realizes that there are no guards or servants with them. And is it normal for members of the imperial family to move around like this? When the carriage begins to move, the prince claims he's been wondering what the lady's suitcase is. Kana realizes she doesn't want to keep up a conversation with him the entire journey, and then replies that there's nothing special in it. Her companion says that's understandable and claims he's reading a book. The girl wonders if he really gave in so easily. As she'd said earlier, he's Princess Lillian's older brother, so she expected him to have the same nasty temperament as his sister, but it seems she'd been unfaithful in judging him beforehand. Observing this guy, the lady can tell he's more like an interesting woman, and the trip will be more comfortable than she feared. However, the girl also wonders why the Empress sent her mistress's son for her. Usually, serious matters like a princess's illness are resolved within the imperial court. So why would she send her son to her mistress, who is such a thorn in her side? The Empress's own son is still alive and well, so the lady doesn't understand why. Her interlocutor at this point claims to have a question and asks if he can ask it. It so happened that he overheard Lillian insulting a lady, and that she even cried because of it. The main character wonders if he's really talking about that moment at the banquet, and why the guy suddenly asks about it, after which the main characters don't answer, that it's true, and understand that he will probably try to protect Lillian. And at this time, the young man only apologizes, and claims that, unfortunately, he did not see anything, because he was alone on the terrace, and he would like to see her tear-stained face. The guy also claims that such an opportunity will come again later. The main character thinks that after these words, he returned to reading his book, but she still doesn't understand what that was, and whether he really ended the conversation like that. Rumor has it that the guy is a complete psychopath, and while he certainly doesn't seem threatening, he's also hardly a normal person. At that very moment, the carriage shudders, and the girl begins to fall. Her companion immediately grabs her and asks if she's okay, as she almost hit her face on the glass. A short time later, the girl gets out of the carriage and claims she's fine. Kana realizes this scared her, and if she hadn't taken it, she could have broken her nose. At that moment, the coachman cries out, begging for forgiveness, and asks if the lady is all right. The young man claims there seems to be something wrong with the wheels, and they'll have to replace them, so he asks if they could step out for a moment. His Highness replies, "Of course." When the young man steps out of the carriage, he says there's a sea of mud there, and if the lady doesn't want to get dirty, he can carry her. But before the young man can finish his speech, the main character jumps out of the carriage and says she's grateful, but there's no need because everything is fine. Her interlocutor claims the Duchess continues to surprise him, and the girl replies that she doesn't want to cause any trouble. After all, she can handle this kind of thing on her own. Her interlocutor says that's understandable and asks if the lady can hold her suitcase on her own, to which she replies yes, but the prince says it's sad, after which he even claims the lady is upsetting her and stabs the coachman with a sword. The main character, shocked, asks what this all means. The girl realizes she's taking it back, because this guy isn't a weirdo. A real psycho, the prince meanwhile wonders what the lady thinks, why he did it, and what he'll do to her. The young man draws the blade of his sword across the lady's hand, slightly grazing it, and then apologizes, claiming it was a mistake. Kana wonders if he's saying it was a mistake, but it doesn't look like he was trying to point the sword in the wrong direction. And is this guy really going to put her into eternal sleep? But she knew he would try to avenge Lillian's. The guy wonders if the lady thinks she can handle this alone. Or maybe she doesn't. Perhaps now she desires his favor. The main character wonders if this is all because she rejected his favor, and this is the reason he threatens her. The girl also wonders if he's such a psychopath, which is why he's still wondering what she should do. She has a couple of protective herbs in her suitcase, but she's in no position to push her luck. The main character thinks she has no choice but to do what he wants, and the girl insists she needs his favor. Now the prince can carry her, as her clothes are getting increasingly wet. The protagonist understands that she must survive, as there is no other choice, and she cannot risk it. She only has one life, and she values it. So right now, she needs to be nice to this idiot. At that moment, the guy whistles, and several more people emerge from the forest and ask if His Highness called him. The man says they should fix the carriage, and he's also put the coachman into eternal sleep, so a new one is needed. The main character realizes he's not even trying to hide it, and if she tried to use herbs on him, these guys would immediately stop her, so it's a good thing she decided to pretend to be nice. The prince turns to the lady and asks if it's time for them to return to the carriage, as he'll make sure she doesn't get dirty or wet again, and she'll let him help this time. Kana thinks he'll just do it, and she can't even believe he put someone into eternal sleep. After some time, they finally arrived at the palace, and as soon as they met the Empress, Argan immediately left them as if nothing had happened. The woman claimed to have seen the lady's hand injured, so she offered to show it to their physician. But the girl replies that there's no need to worry, as it's just a small scratch, and she can heal it herself. The Empress asks if the lady has a problem with Prince Argan, and asks her to rest, assured she'll give him a proper dressing down later, but for now she suggests going to Amelia Kana. Realizes that even the Empress seemed surprised to see him steaming, but ultimately she didn't dwell on it. The girl understands that everything is fine because it's already in the past. It's also good that her hands have stopped shaking. The lady realizes she doesn't think anyone will side with her, even if she tells them everything. After all, she'll still figure out what to do about it later. And right now, the most important thing is to cure the princess. Kana realizes she needs to calm down. A chance like this doesn't come twice, and she's lucky the princess seems willing to cooperate. The ladies realize they need to check on her, and she has a red dermatitis all over her body. It has a distinctive red pattern with slightly yellowish tones. The skin is covered with characteristic patterns resembling gold coins. This is nummular eczema. The protagonist asks Her Highness if she has tried to treat the condition and taken medication. The Empress claims they followed the instructions of the imperial advisors. The main character realizes that she was asking the princess, but the Empress claims that she did not take anything internally and only applied ointment, after which she asks the maid to bring the ointment and show it to the Duchess. A short time later, the main character picks up the ointment. The Empress claims that after the lady applied it, the itching subsided. The girl realizes it's a dark gray ointment, but is immediately surprised. The Empress claims that in every hospital they visited, they gave her the same recommendations for her treatment, and they usually advised bathing the lady 3 times a day in a bath with hot water and several herbs, and then applying ointment to the areas affected by the disease. Kana claims they prescribed mercury for her. She recalls giving a presentation on the topic and claiming that mercury is a metal that liquefies at room temperature. This metal also has a sterilizing effect. For this reason, it was used in the West to treat syphilis and skin diseases. It was also well known in the West because its medicinal properties were said to be responsible for the remarkable fortitude of the late Emperor Qin Shi. However, mercury harbors a terrible toxin, which has led many people to mercury addiction. Kana realizes she remembers hearing about it at the group presentation, but she didn't expect that knowledge to come in handy there. Afterward, the girl asks how long they've been taking the medication. The woman replies that it doesn't take very long, and she thinks it's about 2 weeks, after which the main character thinks what a relief it is, because if the girl stops using it now, she can avoid addiction. Kana claims they can't take it anymore, and the woman asks what she means, since without this medicine, the princess's condition is only getting worse. The protagonist wonders if the girl's condition is really getting worse. The girl also believes that they added some additional medications to the mercury for this, but even so it remains poisonous, or they claim that they cannot use it, and also that they need to reduce the number of baths they take. Even if it is uncomfortable, for the lady, she asks her to wash only once a day and avoid getting water on the damaged areas of the skin as much as possible. At that very moment, her interlocutor asks if she really wants her to stop taking the treatment. Doesn't she understand that doing so is simply forcing her into an eternal sleep from the itching all over her body? Amelia asks why she should cut back on the number of baths, and does the girl really want her body to be soaked in sweat and fluid from her wounds? Then she cries out, wondering if the girl dares to mock hers. The princess screams that Her Majesty has once again brought in some charlatan for her treatment, and she is trying to fool them, so she will not be treated using her method. The main character claims that if she doesn't stop using this medicine now, she'll never be cured of her illness, and her companion asks what she just said. Kana repeats these words, after which the princess inquires, "How dare a girl talk to her like that?" The main character claims she understands it's important for a lady to be clean, but 3 times a day is too much, as excessive bathing and washing makes her skin dry, and dry skin only makes it worse. Moreover, this medicine is mercury-based, and while it may help relieve the itching, it's poisonous. Kana immediately realizes that perhaps this approach isn't entirely correct. Wind is widely trusted throughout the continent as a cure, and she's certain no one will believe her. If she claims mercury is toxic without solid evidence, They'll assume she has no idea what she's talking about, questioning a proven remedy and needs to find another way. Kana says this ointment is so powerful that it's making her condition worse. Her interlocutor asks if the girl really means to say that all the other doctors, including even the royal advisor, prescribed her the wrong medication. Kana asserts that they too were the ones who failed to cure the princess's illness. The girl doesn't even know what to answer to this, and the main character claims that she was told that the condition of her skin has been causing the lady discomfort for a very long time. And doesn't this mean that all the treatment she received previously was not very suitable for the princess? Then Amelia asks what the Duchess suggests she do with the scabies, and the main character replies that she needs to endure it. And the girl cries out, does she really need to endure it? But let her interlocutor not dare to say that it is easy. Does she really think she'd use this ointment if she could stand it? Does she even imagine how painful it is? Her whole body itches so much she wants to fall into eternal sleep. The pain is so intense, it feels like she's burning alive. Kana says that if the princess wants to get better, she'll have to accept this. She also thinks these patients simply want to know if they can trust the person treating them even a little. The main character claims she'll make some medicine to help the lady with this, and that she'll feel better after applying it. She also claims the princess needs to change her clothes, and that cotton would be better. Her companion asks if the girl really wants to, so she could dress like a commoner. The protagonist understands that for a noble lady accustomed to wearing high-quality silk, since birth, it must be very difficult to understand the reason for all this. But the main character takes the lady by the hand and claims that there are damaged areas on her body, so it is necessary to wear clothes that allow the skin to breathe. And in this case, cotton is more suitable than silk. The princess immediately cries out that she didn't know it was that serious, then curses and raises her hand. That hand then flies past the main character. The girl simply points to the maid and tells her to bring her some cotton clothes while she's still alive. The princess also asks what else needs to be done, since she should let the Duchess speak quickly. Kana insists she'd also recommend changing the bed linen. It's better to use cotton bedspreads in her bedroom. But before I can say that, the princess screams, the maids heard this girl, so they shouldn't miss a word of what was said. Kana wonders what a sudden change in behavior this is, and the lady must have truly suffered greatly. In their day and age, most people would consider what she said nonsense, but she can't believe the princess clings to it so desperately. The Empress meanwhile asks if this is all there is to it, and whether the lady needs any special medicine. The protagonists don't respond, and ask if the lady can get her some herbs from the East. The woman replies that of course, and that she has sufficient connections with merchants for that reason. She'll easily get everything she needs from the East. Let the lady just tell her what's needed, because she'll get anything to save Amelia. The main character thinks how unexpected this is, because the woman truly cares deeply for her daughter. Kana also understands that the Empress's cooperation will only make her job easier, and she's glad that the girl's first treatment session went smoothly. A short time later, the protagonist is riding in a carriage, and someone claims they've arrived at the Addis estate. When the girl doesn't answer, the coachman asks the Duchess if she's okay. The main character wonders what's wrong with her, after which the coachman asks if he can help her. The girl replies that there's no need, everything's fine, but realizes she's feeling dizzy. Kana also realized she was suddenly pierced by pain, and the smell of red liquid on her hand was nauseating. She wondered if the wound was deep, and whether it was all because she'd just relaxed. She tried to rationalize the cause, but she didn't really know what was happening to her. Finally, the shock from her mind flooded her entire body, and all because today, she would have to face an even more unpleasant situation. And at that very moment, the girl saw Duke Alexander, and also realized that he had a sword very similar to the one the prince had. So the lady realizes she needs to get out of there. But at that very moment, the man approaches the lady and claims he's been waiting for her. The Duke looks at the lady's wound, then gives in and lifts her face so she's looking at him, and he wonders what happened to her. The main character wonders, since when he cares about her well-being, after which the lady says it doesn't matter, so he should take his hand away. The lady also wonders if he'll listen, if she tells him about how his daughter was threatened with eternal sleep today. She is the Duchess of Valentino, and also the daughter of the Addis family, but there is no one who could help her, and she knows that the crown prince wants to put her into eternal sleep, so she had to sacrifice her pride and exchange it for her life just to save herself. The girl also recalls her brother's words about not giving up on anyone, and she realizes she knows this perfectly well, so whether she says it or not, nothing will change. None of that matters anymore, because she's doing just fine on her own, and that's how it always has been. So she mentally asks the Duke to pretend she's not there and leave her alone. The girl says it's nothing serious, and she's very tired today, so she asks if she can go and rest. But at that very moment, the man presses on the lady's wound. The main character feels pain, after which she moves his hand away slightly, and the man tells the girl to answer, because he asked what happened. Kana wonders why he's tormenting her so. She also wonders why he needs to know this, and whether the Duke really wants to find the one who did this and reward them. Is he really happy to berate her as a thorn in Duke Valentino's side? Or is he planning to reward her for her exploits? If not, she asks to be let go, after which the girl leaves and wonders what happened to this world. First her father, then her brother, and then a family like that. At that very moment, the main character begins to feel even worse and realizes that they aren't her family after all. At that moment, someone asks Juhua if her headache is severe. The main character wonders if it could be her mother, and then realizes that she really is in pain. Her dad insists that Lady still needs to eat, so he'll make her some abalone porridge, just the way she likes it, and let her wait a little. Lady also sees her cat and wonders if he's worried about her too. The girl's brother insists that she's a real poor thing, so how could she have gotten sick? The main character asks him what he's talking about and wonders if he's finished spouting nonsense. To which the guy replies, "Yes, and he's finished, so let sister get better soon and they'll eat chicken together." The main character says okay, but wonders when he managed to grow up like that. The guy also asks if the girl is okay, and the main character tells her brother that she really is fine. But at that very moment, the girl sees Cullen in front of her. The boy looks at his sister with a bit of surprise, then asks if she's awake, and the girl wonders if it was all a dream. Then she realizes it's true. It was just a sweet dream. It's like that stupid feeling, and it even becomes funny, after which the main character turns to Cullen and asks why he's in her room, to which he replies that she fainted in front of him. Kana wonders how she managed to do it in front of him, of all people. Her interlocutor claims he thought she'd be uncomfortable in her formal attire, so he asked the servants to change her and replaced her bandage with a fresh one. The protagonist realizes she's not interested in any of this, so he should just leave. The girl sees that it's only just dawn, but she already feels much better after her sleep. As expected, her mind was in shock, and she was also physically exhausted as a man had been put into eternal sleep right before her, and she herself had almost said goodbye to life. Honestly, her heart still pounds wildly at the mere memory of it, and she's never witnessed such a terrifying descent into eternal sleep. But she shouldn't dwell on it so much. There's still so much to do. The girl realizes she should put it out of her mind and not think about it. He needs to move forward diligently and not be so absent-minded. Meanwhile, Cullen asks if the lady is already getting up. She should rest a little more. The girl replies that she's fine now, so he can go back to his place. Her interlocutor asks where the wound on his arm came from, but the people respond that it's nonsense and he doesn't need to know. At that moment, the guy grabs the lady by the cape, and she asks what's wrong with him, to which the guy replies that they haven't even finished the conversation. Kana claims she has nothing more to say to him, but her brother insists he has something to say, and that the lady should know something. The girl asks if that's really true, then replies that no, and she shouldn't. She pushes the man's hand away and heads for the door. Her interlocutor asks where the lady is going at such an hour, and she replies that she needs to go to the lab to prepare something. Cullen asks if she's not going to tell him how she got that wound, and he also thinks she should rest today. The young man also claims she's pale and looks like she's about to faint again. He then turns to his sister again, and the protagonist pauses, realizing that too much has already happened today. He offers to talk for just a minute, and the lady thinks that he should leave her alone, at least today, after which she turns to her interlocutor and screams that she told him not to call her that. The girl also asks who his sister is and who he is to call her that and interfere in her affairs. The guy again addresses the lady as his sister, and the girl screams at him to stop calling her that because he is nothing to her and she is nothing to him either. Let the guy not pay attention to this right now, because it's simply disgusting. Her interlocutor then wants to say something, but eventually falls silent and sadly looks at the floor. Kana tells him not to make such a face over a few words, because those words are nothing compared to what he did to her. She has no idea what he was thinking about the relationship, but for her it was just a fleeting moment, and she, so to speak, succumbed to the moment. The girl also asks if he really thinks she's so frivolous, and the guy says that something happened in the past. He deeply regrets it and simply wants to fix their relationship in the future. The main character, with a smile on her face, asks what he's talking about and who needs it anyway. The girl also claims that Addis Cullen, as always, has his own mind, and when he doesn't like her, she should be on her own, but she still has to be with him even if she hates it. So why would she do that? Her interlocutor insists that's not true, and if so, he won't say a word. He also wonders if she'll continue to avoid him, since they can't cross paths, and their pasts won't change the fact that they're related. After all, the lady is his sister, first of all, and the guy asks if she wasn't looking for him while she was sick, which surprises the main character, and her interlocutor asks if she didn't call him brother while she was sleeping, and in the depths of her heart she would like to count on her family. After which, the guy tells sister to rely on him because he's the only one she has. He also asks if she's really going to rely on Orsini, or on her mother, or Isabella, or if perhaps she'll find support in her father. Last night, his father merely glanced at her unconscious, unwilling to help, and he was the one who had been caring for her all this time. The boy recalls turning to his father and claiming that sister had fainted. That night, Duke Alexander stood his ground, unwavering as a castle through the freezing winter. Sharp, furious emotions filled his entire body, and then he turned to Cullen Addis. His mouth opened slightly, and he called out to the guy as if he was about to give him an order, but he only turned his back to him and disappeared. Which is why Cullen insists so much, and the guy claims that he is the only one who is on his sister's side and the only one she has. The main character then bursts out laughing and insists it wasn't him, which surprises the guy, while the girl insists it wasn't him who was the younger brother she couldn't find. Kana wonders if this idiot really thinks she could be offended by Duke Alexander's actions. She wasn't the one who met Sunghong, so isn't it too arrogant to think she mistook him for her little brother? The guy then asks who it is, if it isn't him, and whether it could be Isabella or Orsini. The girl replies that no, it wasn't them. Then her brother asks who it is, and the lady claims that they were apart for more than 7 years. And does he really think that during this time, she couldn't have a man who became like a younger brother to her? There is a child about his age, and she considers him her younger brother. Or better yet, that he is her brother, because he is the only one she is looking for, and not Cullen. The guy then asks who this idiot is, but the main character asks, how dare he call him that? Her brother asks if the girl is really angry just because he called him an idiot, and if it's because of the child she considers her brother. The main character then sighs and claims she was an idiot for even thinking of talking to him. She pushes Cullen Addis away and tells him to get out of her sight while she's still politely asking, after which he says, okay, and insists that if that's what she wants, he'll leave everything as is. And he won't care about her anymore, so let the girl do what she wants. The main character realizes she's disgusted by seeing him freak out, as if she's been unfair to him. She also wonders if he's truly reflected on his past mistakes and wanted to build a good relationship. Well then, the lady realizes that this is absurd, because he should have said something like this before she created this medicine. The lady created it for her 14th birthday, wanting to plunge into eternal sleep and distract herself from the state that would stop her heart. At 14, she drank it without any regrets, and her life was so miserable. However, it didn't work, and the effect was insufficient. But now it is sufficient. The girl understands that she doesn't want problems because of this fool and can't allow herself to remain like this. After all, she had been approached with an important request. After the lady finished consulting with the princess yesterday, the Empress personally escorted her to her carriage, and the woman asked the Duchess to forgive Amelia's behavior. She was embittered by her illness, and she had previously been such a sweet and well-behaved child that she couldn't even imagine such a day would ever come. The woman also apologized and claimed she shouldn't have said all that, but the main character insisted that everything was fine. The Empress also added that in any case, She looked forward to their cooperation and trusted the lady. And by the way, she always exuded a wonderful scent. The woman claimed she'd never smelled a scent like this before and asked what perfume the girl wore. Kana replied that it was hard to find in stores, but she could bring it to the Empress as a gift, to which she replied that she would be grateful. The girl understands that this is the perfume that she sold in her online store, and this scent does not exist in this world, but she can create it using plants from the East. The lady spent 2 weeks diligently preparing it, planning to widely advertise it at the banquet. But this plan failed because no one approached her due to the scandal with Lillian. But she did not expect that the Empress would become her first client, after which the main character says that this is excellent and that she needs to focus as this will be an important step towards her future plans. A short time later, someone approaches Duke Valentine and asks if he knows that he met his wife. Up close, she is even more beautiful, and his heart flutters, after which he asks his interlocutor if he has ever felt something like this, to which the man replies no. The prince claims this is strange and asks if the duke is definitely not into men, to which he replies that he's definitely not. Then his interlocutor asks why the duke is asking her about how he met their duchess, or how he hugged her while seeing her frightened face. The guy also claims that he cut her with a sword and asks if he is still curious, after which the duke stops and asks if he really put her into eternal sleep, to which his interlocutor replies that yes. But then he adds that he plunged into eternal sleep, not the duchess, but the spy who pretended to be a coachman, and he planned to let him go because he was too lazy to suffer. But still, he took advantage of the opportunity to get rid of him. The duke then says that his interlocutor asks if that's all. Sylvian insists that she hasn't fallen into eternal sleep. There's no need to find a new wife. The prince asks if the duke knows his ball is filled with magical stones, and even a small scratch is enough to cause a massive loss of the red fluid, causing some to lose consciousness. The boys wonder if he's not interested either. Then the guy asks, what about someone else? Because he thinks Kana's gotten into some trouble, and he means that. At that very moment, his interlocutor claims he's not interested, and that it's none of his highness's business, so he asks her to stop paying him so much attention. The concerns of Valentino's family. The prince says how cold his interlocutor is, and if such a beauty were his wife, he would keep her close, which is why the duke is so stupid. Meanwhile, the main character realizes that the unpleasant events are already behind her, and she realizes that these relatives are so infuriating. Can's daily routine finally began to calm down, all because Duke Alexander and Cullen, and even Sylvian Valentino, had gone on a military campaign. Monsters suddenly began appearing from the black fog. But of course, that didn't mean the lady's daily routine was quiet and boring. At this moment, someone throws a vase and cries out about how it itches, and how she wants to fall into eternal sleep from this unbearable itch. The main character realizes that it's now the 5th day of Princess Amelia's treatment, and each time in her excitement, she smashes a vase, and it seems like it's already the 5th. However, despite her intense anger, she never threw them in her direction. In fact, the girl tried to do so in such a way that not a single fragment reached her. She had no intention of harming her. The lady was simply in great pain, so she couldn't tolerate it calmly. The girl asks when the medicine will be ready, and if she can even hear her, as her skin feels like it's burning, and she's in so much pain, she wants to fall into eternal sleep. Kana understands that the princess nevertheless follows her instructions unquestioningly. She stopped using mercury, which had brought her relief, and began wearing cotton clothing like commoners. She also stopped scratching the inflammation, a feat achieved only through her stubbornness and determination. It is precisely these patients who melt the hearts of doctors, which means that now she too wants to make every effort and help her patient, after which the main character states that she apologizes for having to wait so long. But now she has brought the lady medicine, as well as a new ointment, that will replace mercury for her. The protagonist realizes it's a herbal ointment. Records of it remain in ancient medical encyclopedias from the Joseon era. It was widely used for external use at that time. This ointment was the best-selling product in her online store in Korea. She understands that since she's made it many times before, it worked out pretty quickly, but due to the very long delivery time for the ingredients, preparation took a long time. Kana claims she'll show the lady how to apply the ointment, so she should watch carefully and follow suit. Amelia asks if applying it will stop the wounds from itching, and the main character replies that only if she uses it constantly. Her companion claims to be happy, and the protagonist asks what she's talking about. The princess claims she heard the herbs the Duchess requested were delivered only yesterday, and she thought it would take several days to make the ointment, but it all happened so quickly. The protagonist tells Her Highness that it must have been very difficult for her, but she endured everything and followed all her instructions well, so she too wanted the lady to recover quickly. The protagonist also says that everything she's done up until now, including changing her habits, it was to prevent the progression of the disease, and officially its treatment begins today. And soon the lady will be able to see changes, so let her be patient a little longer, to which the girl replies that she understands. Kana understands that if the herbs from the Empress had arrived faster, the princess would have gotten rid of the itching long ago. She said that she has connections with Eastern traders. So why was there such a delay? After all, the goods would have been delivered in Korea. Although in her online store, it was possible to do this even faster if the required product was in stock, since she always stocked best-selling items in large quantities. The girl also wonders if her shop is okay and how Juhua is doing. But what difference does it make? Unlike Juhua, she's probably surrounded by the care of her loving family. When the main character finishes applying the ointment, the princess claims she feels a little better, and the girl asks if it's bearable. Now Amelia replies that yes, her skin still itches, but she can tolerate it now. The main character claims that an herbal infusion will also be added to her treatment. It must be taken 3 times a day, and the lady must not forget it under any circumstances. She agrees and insists she will definitely take it. Kana says she'll probably go and they'll meet tomorrow, but her companion asks her to wait. The girl turns to the Duchess and asks her forgiveness for her outburst and for throwing vases. Kana realizes she never imagined the girl would apologize, after which she says everything is fine. Amelia then asks if the girl would like to have a cup of tea with her, and they can chat for a bit. The main character thinks she didn't expect such a proposal, but she still doesn't see anything wrong with it, so she agrees. While drinking tea with the princess's son, the girl didn't notice how quickly time had flown and the sun had already begun to set. A little while ago, Amelia claimed that it seemed that Her Majesty, along with the medicinal herbs, bought something else, because she gave her a very rare tea, and she hoped that the Duchess would also like it. The main character thinks it's amazing, because a week ago she couldn't have imagined she and the princess would become so close. Their first meeting was terrible, and besides, she put her life on the line for this deal. Now though, the girl realizes she's grateful they met, and the more they see each other, the more attached they become. A few days later, the Empress comments on how pleasant the scent is, and thanks the girl for such a precious perfume, assuring her that she will wear it often. Kana tells Her Majesty that it is a great honor for her. The woman also says she's probably wasting the lady's time asking for treatment for the princess, as 2 weeks have passed, and the illness still hasn't subsided. The main character realizes it's impossible to get rid of a serious skin disease in such a short time. But the princess is more patient than the Empress, after which the girl says that this is not one of those illnesses that can be quickly cured, but let Her Majesty not worry, because soon the princess's skin will stop itching. And in general, the treatment is progressing very well. The woman says that this is excellent, and asserts that she will not rush her. But at the same moment, someone else knocks on the door, and tells Her Majesty that His Highness the Second Prince has come to see her. The woman at the same moment, with a smile on her face, tells him to come in, and the main character thinks that if this is the second prince, then he is the Empress's natural son and Amelia's brother, as well as the man who will become the next monarch. And his name is Crescent. The Empress turns to her dear son and asks why he came there, since he could have sent someone with orders, and she would personally bring everything needed. The guy replies that he came because he heard his sister has a new doctor. The main character wonders if he's talking about her, then rises from her seat. The girl immediately bows and declares that it is a great honor to meet His Highness and that her name is Kana Valentino. The man says she is pleased to meet the Duchess, then offers to tell her how his sister is doing and that he would like to visit her, but his mother stubbornly holds him back. The woman immediately yells at Crescent to never go to the princess's palace, as it's full of bacteria, so he shouldn't even think about it. The boy then tells his mother not to worry, and the woman tells him to promise her. The main character ponders the words about various bacteria. Meanwhile, the woman tells the guy to never try to go there and never drink tea with the princess, because if the disease spreads to him, what will they do then? The girl understands that it's clear that her son is the future emperor, so she values him, but she speaks so harshly. The boy insists that this time he will definitely keep his promise, and the woman tells him to do so. And the main character realizes she's witnessing an extremely unpleasant scene. Of course, she wanted to escape from there as quickly as possible. But a little while later, the lady was walking through the garden, and someone told the Duchess that he hoped he wasn't wasting her time. The girl replied that of course not. But she wonders why this prince invited her on a walk with him. The boy then asks if she's really going to see Amelia today, to which she replies that she is. The prince explains that due to health reasons, he was unable to attend his sister Lillian's banquet. But he's heard a lot of rumors about her beauty, and the girl insists he's exaggerating. She silently adds that maybe he should stop talking nonsense and just tell her what he needs. The guy insists that in addition to her beauty, she's also an artificial healer. When they continue talking and move further through the garden, the main character thinks that this is strange, because it seems to her that they are gradually moving away from people and becoming more secluded, and maybe it's just her imagination. And yet this long conversation is literally about nothing. A short time later, the guy claims that finally no one is around and they're alone. The main character, shocked, wonders what this means and whether he's really going to act like his crazy brother. Meanwhile, the guy preemptively apologizes to the Duchess and grabs her hands. But when the main character looks at her hand, she asks if it's a water vessel. Her interlocutor replies that it's an antidote and something that can save her and his sister, Kana, surprised, turns to His Highness, who merely asserts that he hopes the lady will keep this a secret from others. At that very moment, someone else approaches Duchess Valentino and insists that she accompany them to the imperial palace. Kana thinks they're imperial knights and they're armed, after which she asks what happened and why. So suddenly, one of them claims it's an imperial decree, and they need to immediately detain Duchess Kana Valentino, the one responsible for sending Princess Amelia into eternal sleep. The protagonist realizes that according to the girl's maid, the princess has been complaining about being tired all day. Then she suddenly started coughing up red liquid and never got up again. The imperial physician concluded that she had cardiac arrest due to an excess of poison in her system, and the main character is the prime suspect in the eternal slumber. The Empress slaps the girl across the face and screams at her for putting her daughter into eternal sleep. But she asked to be healed and trusted the lady, so how dare she do such a thing? Kana insists she didn't do it, but the woman screams that she only has to look at her. Every meal of the imperial family is thoroughly checked for poison, but she was poisoned, and the only thing that could have poisoned her was her ointment, after which the girl claims that she is innocent, but the Empress again hits her in the face and screams, "Who then? After all, who could have done this? And how?" And the girl could only have been poisoned by her ointments and decoctions. When the main character once again tries to say she didn't do it, the woman cries out for her to confess and beg forgiveness from her daughter, who trusted her and followed the treatment. And ultimately, she fell into eternal sleep, but the protagonist repeats once again that it wasn't her. The Empress asks if she will really persist to the last, since it was she who put her daughter into eternal sleep, and she still has the audacity to deny it. After which, the woman sighs and says that from now on, no food or water will be brought to this prisoner until she confesses to what she's done. Kana understands that, of course, physical violence will come first, and she knew the Empress's true nature. She hid behind a kind mask. More than once she'd been falsely accused, but this case was the worst of all, and the girl didn't think they'd strip her of her clothes. And now she's a little cold. Throwing aside all sense of decency, they treated her worse than cattle, and they don't even have any evidence. The reason they don't value her is because she's a duchess. No one cares about, and she has no way to protect herself, nor is there anyone to protect her. People understand that she needs strength to survive and persevere in this cruel world. and only she can force herself to move on. The Empress, meanwhile, approaches her daughter's room and wonders if she has truly fallen into eternal sleep. Then the woman sees her daughter lying on the bed and, shocked, addresses her unfortunate daughter. She pleads that the cardiac arrest was simply the doctor's fault and insists it's all her fault, so she asks for forgiveness for hurting her with her words. At that very moment, someone else addresses the Empress, and he claims that it seems the girl has indeed fallen into eternal sleep. The woman immediately asks her for forgiveness, as it's all her fault, and she was the one who asked Duchess Valentino. But her interlocutor replies that he already knows everything. It turns out to be an emperor named Luke Iseberg. The man asks how a woman could entrust the princess's treatment to a man who doesn't even have a medical degree, let alone Kana Valentino. His interlocutor replies that she was so desperate for Amelia to survive that she'd completely lost her mind and that it was all her fault. The emperor, at this time, understands that the empress acted very stupidly, which is uncharacteristic, and despite her cruelty and ruthlessness, she is quite smart, so he could not even imagine that she would act in such a way and lead his daughter to plunge into eternal sleep. But in any case, what's past is past, and Can's Valentino is now in prison, so that's great. And the man claims the trial will take place tomorrow. The Empress asks what he's talking about, and the man claims that the Dukes of Valentino and Addis are very convenient right now. He's in a dark fog, and it would be best if they close this case while they're away. The woman wants to say something, but his interlocutor insists that the princess was threatened with eternal sleep, and he's absolutely serious. Kana Valentino has put a member of the imperial family into eternal sleep.